welcome to the Horror Hangout podcast. A podcast where free bit of it's a different way I say that every time, but I don't know why this is happening.
I think you're overthinking it, if anything.
But I do it from a template every time, so surely that's changing. Someone's changing my intro.
Someone's editing your template.
Multiverse confirmed. That's the very subtle difference. Do you want to take another run? I believe in you.
Yeah. Welcome to the podcast of Horror Hangouts, where three fans who have beards watch films, best and worst of them, and they talk about them. My name is Luca Condo with a K, and joined by my regular co-host, Mr.
Fair enough. Ben Errington. Ben.
And Sir
Andy Conduit Turner. Got an honour in this dimension.
He's a sir, and he's recently celebrated a birth of day.
Celebrated.
Many happy returns of the day. You've turned 1 year older.
Yeah.
But not really, only a couple of days older.
Yeah,
but
a couple of days older
officially,
than last time. But as far as the calendar years have passed, it's another one gone.
Yeah.
Candle bill is going up every year.
Feel any different? Do you feel any older?
No. Did you wake up creakier?
Yeah, I guess current climate. Read the news every day. You feel a little bit older, but that's all right.
Yeah.
In terms of just the number of days passed, it's all right. Still fine.
Yeah.
Well, you look great.
You do. To be honest, Andy, you look very, very good compared to myself and Ben. I feel like we're going into our cocoon phase of our lives.
Throw me under the bus. I know what you mean.
I feel like I'm crusting up, solidifying on the outside.
I feel a little bit crusty. Also, for Andy's birthday, posted something on Instagram, which means I had to cut out Andy's head from a photo of him. I was just admiring the hairline the whole way around, just thinking, "What's your secret?" Jeans,
fresh air appear in Scotland, I guess.
You had that hair before. Don't go.
I guess it's just the carefree lifestyle I live.
It's a carefree lifestyle you live.
You've not got a single grey hair in your beard, have you?
Maybe one or two. I'd have to. The camera's not high definition enough. If I get a more expensive camera, then you'd see.
Just for men.
Can't be doing that.
Nah.
In this economy.
Yeah. I do have sometimes some rogue like grey hairs in my beard. They just appear out of nowhere, and they're usually like the longest ones as well.
I stitch them in when you're sleeping.
What's that?
That's why as well. That's the thing as well. Because when you get a grey hair, no one ever tells you this. Occasionally, when you get a grey hair, don't just look different. They're a different texture. They perform entirely differently and against every metric.
Yeah, they're thick, right? They're thick
adamantium.
And I'm like wiry.
Thick and wiry, yeah. Gandalf.
Yeah. Grey hair just hits differently.
Adamantium. Well, we're still south of 40, all of us.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh.
Just about. I saw Andy was interacting on Twitter with people who were all celebrating the Thing turning 40. And Andy said, don't call me that. And also, I'm 39.
Yeah. How dare you, Rudes.
Which was a great gag, you know?
Yeah,
great
solid.
gag. I had a lot of time for it. Solid, exactly.
It could only work. Like, it was a gift. It was John Carpenter's gift to me before I was born. That would come out on my birthday, so I'd have that joke.
I love it when little jokes like that happen. And sometimes you think, don't make that joke. I can't be bothered. But then you're like, it'll never happen again. I need to make it, no matter how lame it is. Not saying it was lame, but I need to make it. It's like, when someone says, oh, this total eclipse only happens once every 300 years. But I swear I've been alive for about 9 of them.
Yeah.
It's only this very specific total eclipse. It's like David Walliams being like the best-selling children's author whose name is David, because if you discount J.K. Rowling, it's all those metrics, or like product of the year in the fruit and yogurt category. It's like that.
I suppose you got to take these small victories. Where you can
yogurt
get them,
category's got to be strawberry fruit corners every year. They must.
That's why they're dominating so heavily.
I do love a strawberry fruit corner. Second only to the banana and chocolate cornflakes one.
Yeah, that is good. That's a dessert. It's not really yogurt, is it?
Yeah, that's why there's another category for that, yogurt desserts.
yogurt / desserts. What you having? I'm having a lovely healthy yogurt. Oh yeah, what kind of yogurt? It's a Rolo. It's a load of Rolos melted down into
They're
a
good as
lovely
well. And the
into a
Milky Bar
paste.
ones.
Oh yeah, but I reckon that's 2 spoonfuls and done.
Yeah.
One, if you're lucky.
Yeah, there's a spoonful
Yeah,
and
but
done, and if you look on the
I-
pot, it'll say contains 4 servings.
I shoot them out like Popeye with spinach, straight in the air into
But
my
one
awaiting
spoon-
job.
It needs to be at least 2 spoons. 1 spoonful's like for the main body of the yogurt. The second spoonful's for the edges.
The scraping.
I dropped the spoon after that first dig. Then it's all tongue.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't even lick. You just stick your tongue out and then just plonk the pot on and revolve it.
Speaking of horror news,
Yeah.
have we got any horror news?
Horror news. I don't know why anyone would ever think this podcast has waffle at the beginning, but there's a trailer for a new movie this week called Barbarian. Don't know if you guys saw this trailer. I haven't haven't watched it, but I saw it doing the rounds. Still trying to avoid most trailers now. In Barbarian, a young woman travels to Detroit for a job interview, books a rental home. When she arrives, she discovers the house is double booked. That is a true horror.
That is true. Absolutely.
A strange man, Bill Skarsgård of Pennywise, cross-eyed.
I thought that was
Pain.
just going to be a strange man, Bill Skarsgård.
A strange man, Bill Skarsgård, played by Bill Skarsgård. Against her better judgment, she decides to spend the evening. Nah, you wouldn't do that.
No.
Soon discovers there was a lot more to fear than just an unexpected house guest. He's also a
Barbarian.
dancing clown.
He's also
Yes.
a Neanderthal. Just got
He's
out
al-
some ice.
He goes, Conan is here as well. He's staying over. He's in the spare room. He snores.
In the sauna.
O'Brien, data. No, Conan. It's pronounced differently.
Conan. Yeah, so this, I mean, I'll probably watch the trailer, maybe just watch the first trailer for this. This looks like it could be good. Justin Long is in it as well. He's got a good face for horror movies. After Jeepers Creepers and Tusk. That
Yeah.
definitely counts as a horror movie.
Yeah.
And it's got quite a good looking poster as well. So let's
I'm
do
very
it.
curious. Where does the barbarian aspect come into it?
I don't know, really. Maybe it's like, I don't know.
That's what's strange about the
knows?
man. He is just a barbarian.
He's just a
Yeah.
barbarian. He's a barber called Ryan.
Barbara Ryan.
Ryan.
Barbaran.
Barbaran. And he's giving
Barbaran.
people's people haircuts against their will. The mullet is made a comeback, so maybe he's going around giving people mullets. Who knows? What else we got? Apparently, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, or the sequel to the latest one, rumors have begun to swirl already. But apparently, the Netflix movie did really well, so it's looking to order up not just one Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequel, possibly 2. In this article, there's a lot of possiblies and maybes, and but if it made money, then Netflix might throw some more money at it. Where could we see this movie go now? We saw at the end, spoilers, of course, for Texas Chainsaw Massacre. We saw at the end he was just trudging back home, wasn't he? Old Leatherface. Who knows what he was going to do? He hadn't done any chainsaw murdering for decades.
Now he's done loads in a day.
Now he's done loads in a day. He's going back. What is he going to hibernate now for 27 years?
Do you reckon,
Pennywise style.
bearing in mind he is getting on, he's knocking on the years a bit.
It's supposed to be
Quite a lot of that family were quite old already. Are any of them still going to be living in that house?
Oh God, who knows? But didn't we work out he was like 70s or something?
Would have been like late 60s, 70s, and that was if he was a young man in the original.
As if we were meant to think in the original he was 8.
I only just learned to walk.
Yeah, there is a trailer for the game as well, which obviously recreates a lot from the first movie, like really well
and stuff are the same, aren't they?
Yeah. Again, it
Is
looks
that-
like something. I know I mentioned this with Mad God last week, but I feel like I could smell it as well. Maybe
Maybe your laptop's
Maybe
dusted
my
out or
lap-
something.
If your laptop's there,
Laptop's on
you're
a bloody
risk of a
blink.
stroke. But
What?
it really smells of burnt toast, this film.
Is that
My lap-
is that game like a 4-on-1 Dead by Daylight
mean,
situation?
That's what I was thinking. But then again, I'm kind of
That's what I
hoping
was thinking. Oh,
that's
it's
what I
me.
was. Because we've already seen Leatherface in Dead by Daylight, right? So if we just see him in a different
Yeah, I
environment for the
kind
game, I'm
Yeah,
a bit like,
yeah.
well, I don't really want that.
of want a different approach to my horror games because now we've got what Dead by Daylight. There was the
Friday
Jason
the 13th.
Friday the 13th. There's an Alien one. There's a Predator one. The Evil Dead
Yeah.
game is also that. Like,
I don't.
exhausted by
These aren't the
online PvP games.
These
Hmm.
aren't the kind of gaming experiences I really look for, especially like in survival horror or horror in general. Yeah, I want something a bit different. Hopefully not. I mean, we could probably look into it and find out.
Yeah.
But
what
still,
what I'd love is just a really tightly scripted, like really visceral horror experience. Because in reality, I reckon there's a room in the market you could do a nice turnaround like that. Like have it. I don't need it to be a 15, 20-hour game. Give me a good solid 8 to 10.
let's have
like going through a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Love it.
an Alien Isolation style scenario where Leatherface is knocking about. You got to keep hiding from him, making sure you don't get
sonar.
chainsaws.
Sonar
Yeah,
thing hiding in lockers.
you got your little sonar.
You got to make sure you've definitely put that paperwork in to legally buy that woman's house. You can avoid the whole game.
You got to eject him out the airlock of the house.
Yeah, don't cut him though. He's got acid blood.
Yeah.
But obviously, Resident Evil 7 felt a bit Texas Chainsaw Massacre-y, didn't it?
Yeah.
So let's take that's inspired that, and it's been inspired by it previously. That not really a very good sentence, but you know what I mean. Let's do that.
Let's mix
Not
it up
4v4, not 1v4.
Because then we can avoid the true horror of matchmaking in any type of game, which, one of two things either going to happen. Either it's not going to work and you can sit in an empty lobby for ages getting frustrated, or worse still, it does work and you have to play a game online with strangers on the internet, probably children that are better at video games than you.
Yeah, and they've all got their mics on and they're ridiculing you.
To be honest, I didn't care if they're not ridiculing me. They've got their mics on and they're saying literally anything. I'm like, oh.
They're saying, "Oh, fucking do this, you idiot! I've got you." No.
Like, have you got a mic? I do, but I'm not going to use it to talk to you. Don't want to end up on a list.
Don't want to be called a grabber. And the only other piece of news that I thought worth mentioning is the original Goosebumps artist Tim Jacobus reteams with R.L. Stine for a horror comic book series, which is going to be called The Stuff of Nightmares. Apparently, it's some R.L. Stine penned stories. The artwork from Tim Jacobus will be added to it, and it's like new horror graphic novels for big kids. So I mean, probably going to be the similar sort of vibe to Goosebumps, but still be pretty cool to see his artwork in a different sort of. Well, there's some really interesting looking pages here as well. There's a cover by Francesco Francavilla.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah, there's lots of good stuff here. I mean, it looks slightly more adult than like Goosebumps, doesn't it? It looks pretty gory. There's people getting ripped apart.
Oh, I wonder if that camera's going to be in it again.
Say cheese and die.
Have you ever seen those masterclasses? You kind of have to love the R.L. Stine approach to writing. Have you seen the masterclass it's like R.L. Stine's advice on writing?
No.
Oh, he's like, it's actually dead easy. Writer's block, bullshit that. You just fucking do it. Stories are dead easy to do. Like,
oh, nice one, R.L. Stine. I'm experiencing writer's block. No, you're not.
That's bullshit.
Lie to yourself. That's bullshit.
Fucking right. Just sit down, write, do a story.
Yeah, some of this art I'm just looking through now looks like what's the Hellboy guy called again?
Oh,
I knew that until you said that out loud, and then it just erased it from my mind.
Oh my god,
Mangola. Yeah,
Mignola.
Mignola. Yeah, sorry.
Easy for you to say.
Easy for you to say, mate. Yeah, I'm gonna fetch up my dinner.
That's great though. This is awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Check that out.
That is pretty much all I've got for horror news this week. Has anybody got anything else, or is that it?
I think that's it for news. I haven't really been paying attention to news that much, to be honest. Has there been loads of game stuff there recently? Callisto Protocol.
Yeah,
saw a
Callisto
trailer and stuff for
Protocol
that.
looks really good. The Dead Space remake is coming along nicely. Both towards the end of this year, is it?
Yeah,
Have you
that'd
gone
be
back
awkward.
and done Dead Space yet, Luke?
Say again?
Have you gone back and done Dead Space yet, or are you waiting for the new
No,
one now?
I may as well wait for the new one now.
Yeah.
I think Dead Space might be early 2023, unless I've got that completely wrong. And I think Callisto Protocol is
October,
says that.
November.
a little bit earlier. Okay.
Q4. That'll cover
That'd be
it all nicely.
a PS5 exclusive, not exclusive, but
I think it's new gen stuff. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, new gen is like 2 years old now, isn't it? But
Yeah.
I still haven't got one.
No, that's the thing, though, isn't it? Because it's been weird that yes, the new generation of stuff to the point they're already saying, "Oh, are they going to do pro versions?" But you kind of think, "Fuck off," because the current ones, although they are 2 years old, aren't really readily available. You can't walk into any shop in the country and go, "One of them, please."
Yeah.
So it's kind of
one of your
Absolute
finest
keeper.
PlayStation 5 consoles, please.
I'll take 5 tickets to PlayStation 5, please. No.
No, you shan't.
shan't. There are none for anyone. So
None for you.
absolute lunacy when people can't readily availably get these ones yet to go, oh, do you want a new one? Pro version? No. Use the chips
Yeah,
to
I'd
satisfy
be
the demand
fuming.
you've got, you dickheads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen anything this week?
Well,
Note?
I did. I swear I talked about this last week, but you said I didn't. The escape room. Did I?
Did you
talk about
escape?
that?
Yeah, you did escape. You're here. You're right here. You're not.
I'm still inside.
Unless you are.
Please send help. It's the same guy. So ages ago, I talked about an escape room we did called Butcher, which was in Nottingham, and it's one where it's like a Saw kind of vibe, and there's a guy with a drill who would come in at some point, any point during the game, and you have to hide.
Where's the butcher got a drill?
To get through the
Why isn't he called the handyman?
The door's unlocked.
It's to unscrew the meat when you need to take it apart. But this one's
put the jam in.
Yeah, this one's made by the same people. These guys, and the same people who did the Warhammer one as well, I think I talked about. These guys really know how to make an escape room. This one was a horror one, but they said it's not like the Butcher. It's not like rated 18. Like you're not gonna be too scared or anything. It's like a haunted house one. I would say it's on the level of Goosebumps in terms of the kind of horror, but there are some genuine jump scares in there, and they know what they're doing. They're like, have you seen Jackass 2? I think it is, where there's like a note on a wall, and they're reading the writing, and they're writing it smaller and smaller, so you're leaning closer towards it, and then like something like in Jackass, like a fist like jumps through the wall and
Like a
punches it in the
boxing
face.
glove, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. But in this, like, there's like I was reading these like little notes on the wall, and then like all these teddy bears jumped off the wall right on my face, and it was terrifying. Like it is genuine. And there's one bit
Did you
where
scream?
I did, and when I scream, I don't scream like most people kind of jump up a couple of registers. I stay in the same so it sounds like I'm being ironic, but I'm actually scared.
Oh no!
You can pass it off as if you're doing like some kind of exertion, like karate, like. Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's really, really cool. We managed to get out, and the thing is, we've done a lot of them now, so we like know exactly what to look for. So even the guy was like, "What? You guys are hot shit." Actually, he didn't say that.
Oh.
But I imagine him calling us hot shit.
He looked you up and down and went, "This guy's a professional."
It's really, really good that I don't know if you guys are ever going to get a chance to go to Nottingham to do these escape rooms, but if you do, yeah,
We should have
it's only like half an hour long, so
maybe we'll have to do like a special meetup. Obviously, one you haven't already done, otherwise it'll be dead easy for you that you're going blindfolded. But
it's the kind of thing where I'd want you to just go and experience them anyway, though, especially the Butcher one.
yeah, the Butcher one does sound great. I've done some good. I'm not sure if I've been to the same one that is. Is that the one that's near where Nottingham Comic Con is? The place that's just opposite there.
No, the Comic Con is more towards like that's like the university building.
It's like the center. It's like sort of conference center. I forget what it is, like a library building maybe.
Yeah, this one's more towards the train station. It's kind of like the opposite side of Nottingham.
Okay,
But there's loads of them though. There's more. escape rooms than there are non-escape rooms these days.
There's
Just walk into a normal room. You're right. Yeah. Can I just get a? Nah, you're locked in.
you must answer me these
Ah.
questions 3 and find 5 keys. Use this D lock.
I want to do my shopping.
Yeah.
There's some good ones up here as well. I went to one in Dundee not long ago, and it was Saw related, and we were all like handcuffed into toilet cubicles to begin with, and all separated. Real life horror being like getting the anxiety that you'll be the one person that can't get out of your cubicle.
Yeah.
And we had a little bit of a jump scare element, like you mentioned, Luke, where basically one of the attendant was listening at the door, waited for us to be concentrating on something, and then just burst in and through the door briefly in a pig mask to absolutely scream at us.
Oh,
Yeah.
a pig mask.
Yeah,
Unnecessary.
Oh
no.
It's good. I really enjoy them. I think
Yeah.
I just really, it feels when you were a kid, you used to watch Crystal Maze and stuff, and you're like, oh, I'd love to have a go on there. Like, just because of the set design, I want to run around and climb through those holes.
You've
It
been
feels
to
like
the-
you're allowed to go on it. I've not been on the
Been to
Crystal Maze
Crystal Maze.
experience.
That's so
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
I'll
give it a go.
I like it. It's like these escape rooms are so good because you can go and do some sort of real life, in many cases, horror experience, plus all the satisfaction of being good at a puzzle when you've solved it. Because they're kind of like, I know there's an element of challenge to them, but if there's one that you gauge it right and you pick one that's the right level and you get through it, nothing quite beats the feeling like, yes, I am the smartest person in the world. No one could do that.
No one's ever done it. I'm the first one to do it. They're going to put me on a wall in a framed photo, a golden framed photo.
It's the same feeling as when you're playing a game and you solve a puzzle, or when you're watching a film and it's perfectly matched up that you work out the thing literally seconds before it's revealed. You get to be like,
hang on a minute, I do this. Yeah.
I think the last time that really did that might have been like Knives Out. Like, in terms of, I don't actually know how this is going to go at the end. I don't think I even figured it out until he told me.
Until Daniel Craig told you, leaned over in the cinema. Luke, what's happening here?
I don't know why I was at that screening, but anyway,
First of all-
I think that's a bit. I've been reading a bit more. Obviously doing a Sandman audiobook still, which is fantastic. I've read Grant Morrison's Invisibles Volume 1. Have you read that?
I've not read any Invisibles, but I heard it is excellent.
Meant to be his magnum opus, I guess you call it, and it feels that way. It feels kind of epic. It feels maybe a bit too much initially, but there's a couple of issues in there that are like amazing, quite horror centric as well. It's all about like how do you describe the Invisibles? It's lots of I'd say like occult elements and spells and people, goodies and baddies, using energies and manipulating energies in the unseen world to manipulate events and make stuff happen. And that it's as simple and as crazy as that concept can be taken. Yeah, and Grant Morrison, they do. There's in terms of like when I think of perfect comic book issues, Grant Morrison has the best track record for them. They just know how to write those perfect issues.
Grant Morrison comics are, again, amongst some of my favorites. I still keep coming back, and it reminds me of the Nightmare on Elm Street chat last week. The Starro Grant Morrison story from Justice League, so good, with your mate Sandman in it as well.
Yeah, sort of. It's like the new Sandman, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the one from the end of the Sandman, right?
Daniel, I think his name is. Yeah.
Just a normal bloke's name.
It'd be weird because they're doing the TV show, aren't they, to Sandman? And do you think like that's going to transpose properly or adapts to TV? Because it is a weird show, and it is weird.
I don't know. It's one of those things. Like it's a Netflix series, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So
packed full of commercials now.
Oh yeah, that was the other real horror news. Netflix saying, "Yep,
is that legit?"
Oh, apparently one of their execs said this week that it'll be a lower tier. It's not a necessity that you're going to have them, but you can have a less expensive tier and have ads. I feel like especially because they're cracking down because they lost subscribers, so they put the price up. but then they've lost more subscribers because it's got more expensive, as well as sacking loads of people and cancelling loads of projects, which is why, as much as I'm looking forward to Sandman, I kind of want to know that it's been renewed for more before I get invested in it, because that'd be the worst thing, to really enjoy a season. And then it'd be like, oh yeah, but we're not doing any more of that because it didn't immediately become the most popular show that was ever streamed on there. It's a weird thing, and with this model they're approaching recently, especially as competition is increasing, with other things. Paramount Plus rolled out here last week, right? So like with all these things, you kind of think, do you want people to start pirating things again? Because that's what it feels like you're going to do if you just make it too much of an unpleasant experience. The whole thing about Netflix being great was that it was a moderately low cost alternative that didn't have the adverts and BS that you got with TV subscriptions. Oh well, they know what they're doing, I'm sure.
Yeah. Anything else? Is that kind of it?
The boys been keeping up with.
Oh yeah, Herogasm this week. Have you?
Yeah,
I need to start serious.
I'm behind, because that's one of the things that Karen also watches. So I kind of need to wait for her not to be busy so I can watch it at the same time.
I was a little bit worried with Jensen Ackles joining. I thought it'd be nice, but in a kind of I don't know if he'll fit the mix of it completely well. But I've been pleasantly surprised. He's kind of spot on, really. Fits that role perfectly.
Wonderful. I watched, so after playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, the new throwback side-scrolling beat 'em up, I was like, I'm gonna watch the Turtles movies. So I watched Turtles 1, 2, and 3, the obviously original 90s live action films. And the first one is pretty great, I think, because it's so ingrained in my head from watching it so much that it almost, when you watch a film sometimes, like every beat and every scene kind of like just sort of flows. It's got this almost like rhythm to it that you're so familiar with, you just know everything that's come in and it just slots into place like that. So I really enjoyed that. And I forget that Casey Jones is in the first one. I always kind of think Casey Jones is in the sequels, but no, he's there from the start in that one. So yeah, he's pretty awesome. But 2 and 3 are pretty bad, and they're so 90s. It's like unbelievable. Like almost every, when you watch modern films and they throw in so many like modern quips and modern references where you're like, is this going to age very well? This is the perfect example. The perfect example is 2 and 3, because they say some stuff and I'm like, because I know what the 90s is and I was around in the 90s, I get some of it, but I'm still like, this is too specific. This is way too specific. And in the second one, obviously Vanilla Ice is in it.
That's really the highlight, doing the ninja rap live on stage. So impressive. Vanilla Ice as a musician could have what most people would say quite a harrowing and disruptive experience. Mutant Ninja Turtles burst in on your live gig.
How do you know the lyrics?
Doesn't throw him, he writes it on the fly.
Also, what bothers me about it is that there's clearly Ninja Turtles fighting like Tucker and Razor,
Tucker and Razor. It's like a snapping turtle and a wolf.
Snapping turtle and a wolf, yeah, who are also in the game as well. They go, hey, what are these crazy costumes these guys have got on? Like it was gonna walk in like turtles. And also Super Shredder at the end of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. I mean, that's awesome. Beat him in about 12 seconds.
Yeah, they don't really get to fight with him, did he? Which is one way to get back in time?
That's Ninja Turtles 3. I think it's got a tagline in some countries, right? But I never.
Is it Turtles in Time? That's the game.
Yeah, that's the game. This one's like the something Scroll of Death, but I don't think it was called that in the UK. I think it was just called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. Something about the costumes in Turtles 3 are so weird, like just odd. Just look, they've really dialed up the. Do you know how they've all got freckles?
Yeah.
They've really dialed up the freckles in number 3, and despite the fact most of it takes place in like 1603 feudal Japan, despite that, and also despite that fact, is what even more 90s in the second one. But I've never got thinking about the rules of time travel in a movie more than I have in this film. I think I thought about it less in like 12 Monkeys or something, but in this one I was going, hang on a minute. that makes sense. How's this happened? What's going on? What if that happens? It was really doing a number on me. I had to have a lie down after watching it. But
when they go back in time, I've never seen Turtles 3, much to my shame. But does no one get the references of their names? I guess is it all right? My name's Leonardo. You know,
yeah, that's
named
true.
after these Renaissance paintings.
They say some weird
what?
stuff. They say some weird stuff. They say like, "Oh, if we die now, does that mean we'll never be born?" And I'm like, "Oh God!" It like gives me a headache. I'm like, "Oh," but also they quite like it because they're kind of worshipped as like these
Oh yeah,
monstrous turtle creatures.
Yeah, and then they go, "Oh, should we stay?" And I think a few of them are thinking about staying, and then one of them goes, "But there's no pizza," and they go, "No."
You could have invented pizza if you're revered as gods.
They go, "Let's go." I think Donatello says something like, "I can live without a single microchip. Oh my God." So yeah, they all go back. But yeah, it's weird.
Chips as well as pizza.
Yeah,
you gotta have a side.
Crinkle cut or straight from the box on a plate. As it's very 90s. We'll use the exact advert.
I don't know why, but I can still hear when they're in April's apartment and I think she's trying to do something, and one of them sticks some celery in their mouth and like bites onto it and like really crunchy celery. I can still hear that snapping celery for some reason. It's baked into my mind.
Also, how long are they going to be teenage for? I keep thinking this, like, by the very rules of their name, what's going to happen? Are they just going to be called
the Ninja Turtles?
It's more of a spirit than more of an attitude than an actual number.
It's more of an attitude.
I mean, me as teenagers, yourself, you guys, you understand this.
How do you do, fellow kids? Yeah.
I suppose, is it relative? Like, is teenagers, regardless of what you are as a species, is it 13 to 19, or is it your adolescent phase? Because turtles are long lived. So
I did want to mention probably not just the greatest moment in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie, the original, but probably one of my favorite moments in 90s cinema is when Tiny Splinter, before he turns into a like humanoid Splinter, is learning kung fu. It is fantastic. It's like a little
cage practicing. He's like in a bird cage, not
a little rat in a bird cage practicing that. And then when when his master's enemy like ends up killing him and then trying to kill Splinter, just chops his ear a bit. That could have stabbed this little rat to death, but no, he just chops his ear and he's like, "Oh, right, that's it. I'm gonna get revenge."
Also, why was he thinking, "I tell you what, I'm also gonna get his pet rat"?
He scratches him first. He scratches Shredder first.
So
really badly as well. It's horrific. But I don't think anything beats, because it's almost like a Rocky training montage of Splinter learning kung fu before while he's still just a rat. And it's just amazing. I just think it must have been amazing to put that together. Like a little.
I wonder what they're gonna do when they grow up and get jobs, like middle-aged mutant manager turtles.
I guess Donatello's an inventor who might be independently wealthy, especially being an inventor in the 80s and early 90s. He'd be a tech billionaire.
Feudal Japan times as well.
I think Donatello would be good. Leonardo would be like a bank or fund manager.
Motivational speaker. He'll be going around on like a speaking tour.
Yeah.
Fund manager. Raphael will be unemployed because he's fuming all the time. His
brothers would support.
He'd be in tech support, just like clicking his mouse really loud.
And Michelangelo would be a YouTuber, I reckon.
Yeah.
That's good shit going on.
Solved it. But bearing in mind this is horror, I would also go for a given the body horror potential of the mutations that come about, love to see a David Lynch directed Mutant Ninja Turtles.
I mean, you probably get something like The Fly. I bet The Fly could be taken in a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles way.
Baxter Stockman.
Stockman, there already is a Fly character.
Oh yeah. If he like spat up on if he like spat up acid on some guy's arm and then said "Cowabunga."
Cowabunga, dude. Also, here's my knob in a jar.
also, while I've got you.
Also, while I've got your attention, here's my bloody knob in a jar. I can't believe it. That's pretty much I know it sounds mad, but
Just-
but that's pretty much all I've watched.
Just the turtles for you. Quiet one for me. I've been out and about doing birthday bits. Caught up on the rest of tele stuff. So I've watched caught up on Obi-Wan, said hello there to all that.
Oh, yeah.
Some good Star Wars.
Yeah.
There's a laser, there's some sword fights, people do some shouting. It's good fun. And I'm up to date with Ms. Marvel as well. That's a nice, stylish, nice, good show.
Oh, so much to watch.
But then I've just started in the realms of horror. Well, firstly, I've gone back because, sitting there with the PlayStation, they've unleashed their new sort of competitor to Game Pass. Lots of lovely game content out there. So naturally, I looked at all of the brand new stuff that they're pumping onto there, and then downloaded the oldest games I could find on there. So I've been playing Ape Escape again. The horror of what it would be like if some apes escaped. That'd be terrible. So putting a stop to that, and then also playing some original recipe Resident Evil with Jill sandwiches and the like, and the Masters of Unlocking. So that's fun. Playing through that, bad
Amazing.
FMV and all. And then I've just started a few minutes before we sat down to record tonight. One of my lovely birthday presents from my sister. I got a copy of The Quarry, so I've just started the opening to that so far.
Oh, lovely.
Very good. I'll have more to say about that as we go along. There's not much happened yet, but just kicking off.
Are we talking game mechanics very similar to Until Dawn?
Very. I've not finished Until Dawn, but yeah, similar to that. So QTE, story driven, got a big sort of summer camp slasher vibe to it so far. Although my original take was, it's going to be set in that period, but no, straight away modern day, modern setting. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's again like you get a tiny bit of uncanniness, especially because they're actors that you recognize. It's like very strange, but super high quality production value. Like I'm into it. It's going to be great.
Cool.
Yeah, I definitely want to play it. Just maybe I just don't really want to pay full price for it at this moment, so we'll wait a little longer.
Yeah, I think it's one of those. Definitely, it's going to have because it's going to be a narrative. It is going to be one that people will buy and then trade in. I imagine, especially in this economy, Ben. It is.
Yeah,
I know it is. There we go. Is that everything?
Black Phone.
Yeah, the Black Phone.
And then to Black Phone. Okay, so The Black Phone is a 2021 American supernatural horror film directed by Scott Derrickson, written by Derrickson and C. Robert Cargill, who both has been produced by Blumhouse as well. So it's an adaptation of the 2004 short story of the same name by Joe Hill. Stars Mason Thames, Madeleine McGraw, Jeremy Davies, James Ransone, and Ethan Hawke. After being abducted by a child killer and locked in a soundproof basement, a 13-year-old boy starts receiving calls on a disconnected phone from the killer's previous victims.
So on the review side of things, doing pretty well. Rotten Tomatoes critics have given it 84%, and the audience have said "shut up, critics," and have given it 90%. IMDb is a 7.4 out of 10, 3.6 out of 5 on Letterboxd. Brian Espitier said, "If the grabber had kidnapped Gwen instead, the movie would have been over in like 5 minutes. She would absolutely demolish him with zero help." 3 stars.
Yeah.
And Sergeant Sixpack said, who didn't like it, "What a complete waste of time. Blumhouse once again puts out poser horror for window-licking simps." So,
wait,
I mean,
hoser horror
from Blumhouse as well. Not like
horror.
I guess I would have thought maybe someone made that argument, even though it's an incorrect argument, about like A24. But Blumhouse doesn't make poser horror for window-licking simps, do they?
No, it doesn't. Well, I don't think so. Like Blumhouse is not. They're not all big hits, are they? Like some of them are naff. But
I think Blumhouse just produces infinite volumes of horror these days.
Blummin' loads. That's where it comes from.
That's what it stands for. It's the Blummin'
Blummin'
loads.
Infinite horror, but some that have like really modern themes or like modern takes on classic themes and obviously remakes and stuff. So And obviously, but this is good because essentially as an original property. I know it's based on a short story, but you know what I mean. It's an original property, isn't it? And I think it's made a fair whack of change, fair chunk of change in this weekend, despite going up against Top Gun, Elvis,
Lightyear.
Jurassic World. What did you say?
Lightyear, isn't that out now?
Yeah, I
Buzz
think Lightyear's out now.
as
So it's
well.
made like $35 million, I think, in the box office.
That's nice.
for-
It's good. It's good to see horror, and it's good to see, especially as a group of people that produce horror fiction and short stories. It's great to see, and I will encourage it all day long. Big film studios picking up short horror stories and making films out of them. Long may it continue. Long may it continue until they eventually, exhaust Joe Hill and have to come knocking at our doors.
Immediately. Also, like, oh my god, I completely lost. So literally just said also, brain completely shut down.
Just like a window licking.
Okay, I've got it. Just like a window licking sim would say. That's not me. Definitely is. Also, I think it's kind of drummed into not just the horror crowd, but I think some like thriller. It's got
true,
sort
the
of like
true crime aspect.
True crime thriller vibes
yeah.
as well. So that crowd has probably been sucked in as well. If you know what I mean.
Sucked into the grabber's basement.
Sucked off.
How do you guys feel about true crime? Are you true crime fans? Do you listen to all the true crime podcasts? And
I like a true crime. Yeah, I like a true crime. You love a Netflix documentary, don't you, Ben?
I like a Netflix documentary, but it's one of those where the quality it is all over the place most of the time. It's like you can watch, or sometimes I'll take a true crime scenario and really stretch it thin. Is that the right turn of phrase? Like,
you've got
like 8 hours,
you've got a 20-minute story, and you've got 4 4-hour-long episodes where they recap it so often.
Yeah, I think occasionally it can be quite difficult to find one that really is like gripping. But occasionally you do. But I do like a lot of the true crimes. I'm not really a podcast listener, but I do like true crime books as well. I've read a few, stuff like that.
How about you, Luke? Do you get through a lot?
No, not really. I have some, very little, but I just find I get a bit too sad about true crime. I don't know. I just don't like to hear about people. I mean, it is always interesting to hear like about John Wayne Gacy and how he had like buried all these bodies in his basement and stuff. But when you hear about the stories about like kids who have gone to meet up with an internet person and then snatched away.
Oh yeah.
It's sort of like it's something to this film in a way.
I think sorry that you finished.
Well, it's just like that level of suffering is just like, I don't know. I just find it really hard to stomach.
I think to derive entertainment from it and to be able to digest it, it has to feel to me like it is history. And I think a lot of that is about the time. Because if I listen to something about killers from the days gone by, like the 50s, 60s, earlier still, like then I feel like I'm digesting it as a story of history, and then it's like, oh, okay, I can engage with this an interesting story. When it's like the year is 2020 and this horrible murder, it feels like I'm on jury, it feels like I'm doing jury service.
I think I like when true crime has got something else to say rather than just going, here was a terrible murder, or a terrible series of murders. It's nice when it's got something else to say, like about the time, the area, like poverty, the way the media sort of like lets down, certain things with like the Yorkshire
Staircase
Ripper.
was interesting. So I did watch the Staircase one. And that's because like the way the court is all about how public opinion sways the court and the way things are going to go.
Yeah,
this the owl one. Was it him? Was it the owl?
Think,
yeah. I thought you meant the guy was the owl because he had big eyebrows.
I think like the court process is almost as interesting as the crime sort of being described as well. But I'll just say with the Yorkshire Ripper stuff, like how the media treated sex workers and stuff, it was almost like second-class citizens. So it's almost like trying to say, here's why it's like the perfect storm. Why this could happen in this particular time is because the media was set up a certain way, the police works a certain way as well, and here's why he could get away with it for so as long as he did. So I like it when true crime kind of has a little bit of a commentary on the era as well. but not just true crime, like the Red Riding stuff. I don't know if you saw that a few years ago on Channel 4.
Sean Bean.
Sean Bean, yeah, Sean Bean, Andrew Garfield. Who else? Anyway, that was pretty good.
Yeah, I imagine I would like that kind of stuff. I don't know. I just don't gravitate towards it naturally. I think the
I've definitely
Staircase
got
and Don't Fuck with Cats was one I watched.
Oh, yeah.
I've definitely got a lower capacity for true crime than purely fiction horror. I get full sooner of true crime.
Yeah, I couldn't eat a full in.
No.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. No, I agree. I won't talk about it anymore. But yeah, this was so I think
any more true crime.
Any more true crime. So I think this kind of brought in because when I was Googling the Black Phone, just because I wanted to, find a bit more about it, one of the first things that came up was the Black Phone based on a true story? So I think there's something about this story that, apart from the supernatural elements, but you could take the supernatural elements and say, are they legit? Are they
that's laid over
in
a
terms
true
of the
crime
story?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, somebody was in a position where they almost had like a fight or flight instance, and maybe these phone calls represented his inner monologue rather than actually chatting to a ghost.
He was like a pie in it.
Have you done your paper round? No, I haven't. Oh, very good. Do it.
Yeah.
But also, I will say, Mason Thames and Madeleine McGraw, shit hot, amazing, like young actors.
Great performances from both of them, and Ethan Hawke as well. But I know, like, obviously, he's got a whole career to.
We know he's good.
We know how he's feeling.
The kids are going.
Mind your neck in, Ethan. Let the kids have a go.
We know you're good, and you don't even need to do any acting because we know how you're feeling because your mask says.
Yeah.
Are you happy?
In many ways, he's like, look, I can do it even in a mask.
Yeah.
Can't see the faces I'm making.
His voice has just got cooler and cooler over the years, I think.
Also, it's a Tom Savini mask, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he doesn't look much like Tom Savini there, weirdly.
Looks nothing like him.
You'd never
back to the drawing board.
You'd never have guessed Michael Myers was William Shatner unless someone told you.
True,
back to the drawing board. This is supposed to be Tom Savini. Pathetic. It looks more like Gary Busey, if anyone. The big old.
It does look like Gary. Yeah, like he bumped his head on both sides with the horns.
Get me two. Bumped his head on both sides, and he pushed a bump down, and then one came out the other side.
Yeah,
that's how it works.
So basically, Gary Busey having been like Tom and Jerry bashed in the head.
A little bird go around his head. Yeah, but it's a good performance, and also, like, I don't know, I would never consider Ethan Hawke to be like a physically intimidating guy. Like, when you kind of think about him, obviously he was in Moon Knight recently as well, with his little cane, and even in this fight sequences that he had then, I was a bit like, oh no, it's not about his physical presence or his physical strength. But in this, I don't know, something about him, just the way he kind of held himself, I did find him quite intimidating.
Yeah,
because I kept thinking, come on, kid, just fight your way out. But I thought you won't be able to. This guy's
too good special moves. Got little laughing gas and balloons.
Is it laughing
Not
gas?
Laughing gas, sorry. I don't know what it is. Chloroform gas.
So I listened to the audiobook of the short story today just to see what the main differences are, and it's like a can of bug spray, I think.
Is that going to kill him?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Pass out if he got a gob full of bug spray.
Yeah, black balloons as well.
Yeah, where do you get black balloons from? Does he have to paint them himself?
Possibly. He's going to a goth birthday shop.
70s at the time, yeah. Probably listening to a lot of like Paint It Black, getting the idea. Just looking at nice balloons.
Yeah.
Did you iconic horror design though? Good baddie design.
Oh yeah, solid.
Did you recognize his brother, the actor who played his brother?
Yeah, I don't know where from though.
He's the deputy in Sinister. Both of them.
Yeah, he's the deputy in Sinister, but he's also grown up Eddie in It Chapter 2.
Oh, aye.
Yeah.
I like him. He's good. He's a good.
I was racking my brains.
Brother.
Very good.
Yeah, he was very funny in this. In fact, the reveal later on with him was excellent. I thought it was really silly. In the best way. I haven't read the short story, by the way. Is it how close to the short story is it?
It's very close, but obviously the movie expands on a lot of stuff pre-grabbing.
It's got visuals as well. Got it.
it's got these visuals as well.
And music, that's not in the book.
Music and sound. Yeah, expands on the pre-grabbing. Like the short story pretty much starts with Finney getting grabbed by a grabber.
Yeah.
He's got a name. He's got a name in the short story.
Ben Grabber.
Ben Grabson. It's like Alfred, maybe Alfred.
Alfred Grabman.
And he's a big overweight dude as well.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of the stuff's the same, sort of like the beats, and a lot of the dialogue is the same as well.
Not kung fu, karate friend. Does he have a karate friend in the short story?
Not so much karate, more just someone who says, "Smash his brain in with a phone full of dirt." Also, when he was showing him the karate, I kept thinking it's one step back too many, wasn't it?
Yeah. Why is he? I think it's essentially like some sort of double
Dodge.
Bane
Sort of
move
trick
or
him because you go
something.
forward and then he goes to grab him and he's moved back again. And then
That's
by that
exactly
bash,
it. Yeah.
they're confused because, oh, blooming no, I don't know if I'm coming or going. That's what you bash him.
He's expecting a grab. What I would do is go forward, back again, one more forward, and then one more back, and then swing the leg.
And then
Hey, the hokey cokey.
do a left and a right, activate infinite lives, and then you're fine.
Exactly. Yeah. R2, L2, spin around 360.
Get the
butler in
rocket.
the
Get a
cupboard.
rocket launcher.
Right, don't blow yourself up though, which often happens if you do it too close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
So
That's it. That's the end. What would you rate the film? No.
I always
Come
get conscious going into it. We're about to do a new film, so in case this is your first episode, sorry for all the Turtles chat, but here we are. We will spoil this film. If you haven't seen it yet, I'd say this is worth watching before you hear us talk about it. If it was shit, we tell you. It's good. So watch it first if you haven't.
Yeah, it's good.
Very much worth going to the cinema to see, I think.
Yeah, get yourself out there. Support Hollywood, buying up short stories from hardworking authors and making them into films.
Hardworking authors with famous dads. And,
hardworking orcas.
That orca's got a
They do
job.
work quite hard though, generally. Teenage middle-aged mutant, hard-working orcas.
Yeah, dead hard to write because if you've got orca, because you're a flipper, can't hold a pen, can't use a laptop, get wet.
Man.
It'll have to deliver the post around an island.
Shredder's Revenge. The Shredder's out again. So fix this bloody Shredder.
I've got a scar on my hand that's a Shredder's Revenge.
Is that legit? Is that legit?
I can't show you on the camera here, but I'll show you. I've got a scar just on one of my thumbs from a Shredder's Revenge. I was
a Shredder's Revenge.
Yeah, I was tidying.
Single Shredder's Revenge.
Tidying my room. I'd got behind on my paperwork. Bearing in mind, I must have been like 21.
Tidying your room. I got behind on my paperwork.
I got behind on my paperwork as a
What kind of chowder did you
I had
have?
loads of like just documents, like letters I'd got that were just, my room was very messy. So I was doing some shredding, but I was in a room. My dad obsessed.
I was behind on my documents.
Yeah, so my dad was obsessed with like data security in the early 2000s. He was like, bought a shredder so we can shred all of our confidential posts to make sure we don't end up in the plot of the 1990 Sandra Bullock movie The Net, that someone steals our identity. So I was doing some shredding, but being a young man about town that I was about to go for a date, and I was like, oh, I'm going to be late, so I'm going to have to accelerate this shredding immediately. So I was doing some
shredding.
No, I was doing some shredding, and unfortunately I put in too many documents at a time, and it made a whirring noise and got stuck because it's too full. So eventually, I'm already in a rush. I'm panicking. I'm not making sensible decisions. So I ripped off the paper that was on the top. Thought, well, that's the end of that then. But now the shredder's jammed, and could have just left it. But I thought, I don't want to leave like jammed up paper. So
half shredded documents. You've got to go half Sandra Bullock.
Yeah. So
Only one Bullock.
So I unplugged it for safety, obviously, and then I thought, right, how am I going to get this jammed paper out of the mechanism of the shredder? steak knife, obviously.
Think of the mechanism.
So here I am, getting the wedged paper chunks out of the shredding mechanism. Funny how
With a steak knife.
yeah, with a steak knife. It's jammed in. I remind you, I was in my early 20s, still a stupid boy. It's really, really jammed in there. And then with all of a sudden a sickening slip, like basically a big gouge of paper, I was really digging into it, all came loose. I just jammed this steak knife right into the meat of like my, you know, if you imagine a human hand, you know, if you imagine it,
let me imagine it.
The thumb is like a bit of a chicken drumstick. If you think about, the muscle that goes there. So I stabbed it into the drumstick of my thumb in my hand, and it felt almost. It went pretty deep because it was almost like an electrical shock, but it must have hit the nerve or something like that. House was empty at the time, so I pulled the knife out, and it was properly pumping out with blood. You could see the ebb and flow of the blood with each beat of my rapidly increasing speed heart. So the blood's going everywhere, laminate floor in my parents' hallway. So there's blood dashing the claret all over the place. There was.
Did you slip? Did you slip at any point?
No, I didn't slip. I went through to the kitchen though, thinking, right, it's okay, sensible, decisive action. Let's go and get the first aid kit. My mom, in her infinite wisdom, the first aid kit in their kitchen, very high, like on top of the kitchen cabinets, that not to keep things away from children, there were none in the house. The first aid kit was it was ceiling height. So I had to go and get something to climb on to get this thing. And I've got blood gushing out everywhere. Literally, I ran it under the tap for a second and there was enough blood for it to go against the flow of the water and disrupt it. So I was losing a fair whack of blood here. I was like, oh God, I'm going to die of this. Feeling a bit lightheaded here because I have to climb up on a stool to get this first aid kit, but I didn't. I just held my hand really high in the air above my heart so blood would stop coming out of it quite so readily. Reached the first aid kit down, haphazardly strapped myself back up, had a little sit down and I believe a Rocky bar just to restabilize myself, having lost a fair amount of blood.
Caramel, just standard.
Caramel.
Yeah.
This is serious. It was a serious time.
Serious scenario, yeah.
So I had a Rocky Caramel and then I was running.
Still go on the date?
I did. I went out. I went out and I met her. It was a lovely afternoon. My hand was kind of bandaged up. And then we went out. It was just a daytime thing. We were just meeting up for some drinks and what have you. So went out, had a nice time. She had to go to work, said goodbye, went back home and thought, oh, what a tiring afternoon. I'm going to go for a lie down. Of course, I'd been in a rush and then came home feeling a bit tired, so went straight to bed. My mom came home from work. Of course, the house is still covered in blood. She had a bit of a shock. Yeah, so basically woke up my mom shouting, like, you all right? There's blood all over the house. It's like, yeah, all right.
I'm all right, it's fine, but the data's all gone. Don't worry. The data's been shredded.
Don't worry. And from that day, I never shredded any documents again.
Good.
Just tore them up with my hands into little strips like a normal person would, rather than using an unreliable, not industrial grade shredder.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So there you go. Anyway, this film.
Yeah. What were we even talking about?
Don't know how we got onto that. Something about documents.
I don't think we even got to the start of the film yet, have we?
Yeah, they begin. It's the 1970s, and anyone from the 70s do write in and tell us, because I found the adjustment to the slang in this film, just in the opening sections, quite difficult, because it was like you in the 90s, Ben, with the turtles. That must be what other people feel like, because I didn't get any of it.
No, it was a bit all over the place. I mean, mint, I understand.
Yeah, we say mint all the time.
Yeah,
mints.
Mint's okay, but other things, I can't even remember them to. They were so impenetrable to me. I can't even remember them to repeat them.
It's weird that you say it. I mean, it's been like a couple of weeks since I saw this film, but I have no memory of that aspect.
You just locked in. You were just locked into it.
I mean, I came out there talking about jive turkeys and I was talking like a 70s
Yeah, you jive
groove
turkey.
maniac.
I'm a right humdinger.
Amazing. Yeah, so it starts with Finney playing baseball. He's having a little bit of baseball. He's like a pitcher.
It's a
That's what they
good
call it, isn't
baseball
it?
player. Yeah.
He's a good baseball player, and he's going up against a guy called Bruce. And you kind of think maybe this Bruce is going to give him a bit of jip, going to be a bit of an
Maybe
issue,
it's a
'cause
baddie.
they're eyeballing each other. You think he's going to be a baddie, but no. He strikes out twice, or just strikes twice, hits the third ball, sends it flying, gets a home run. And rather than Bruce, giving him, because he stares at him the whole time he's running around as if he's going to come to the end of running and go.
Yeah, because he's
Yeah,
hit a home run, so he's free. He's just walking around like he's in Genesis.
So when you say I don't know baseball, when you hit a home run, it's just so good because it's like they're gonna have to go all the way around the fence and that's gonna take them ages, or is it like instantly?
I think
it's instant, isn't it?
all of
There's a
your dudes-
boundary.
all of your dudes get to go home. I think baseball is fundamentally rounders with a longer bat, right? That'd be what it.
Yeah, I
That'd be
think
what
so.
would happen.
Yeah.
And a smaller, harder ball, right? And a smaller, harder bat, right?
Yeah.
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 So rounders is like hard mode baseball.
Smaller, harder kids playing it as well. They're all
Yeah.
fucking nails.
So yeah, he wins at baseball, but Bruce is a good sport, and he goes, "You're on, mate. Absolutely,
Nearly
did.
had me,
You
yeah.
almost had me. Give him a little
You
smile."
almost had me, yeah.
It's nice.
There's a few nice little relationships between people. Obviously, there are some horrible relationships between people in this instance as well, but there are a few nice little relationships. Some people treat Finney like shit, but some people treat him nicely. People that perhaps you wouldn't expect. Some of a little bit. It's not like all the characters have been written in such a way that they're just standard.
Yeah.
That guy's a bully. That guy's not. This guy's his friend. There's none of that. It's all a bit. The dynamics between them are a little bit different.
Yeah.
So Finney goes home, and no, he doesn't. He stays at baseball field to do some rocket launching.
He loves a good bit. Of
Oh
rocket
yeah,
launching,
so that bottle rocket. Yeah.
Yeah, he's doing some rockets.
And at the same time, just across the estate, what's his name, Benny or something, is like on his bike. Bruce is on his bike, and he sees the rocket. And I didn't think it was going to be this kind of film, but it has some very 70s horror style shots and techniques. So when we see the van pull up in front of Bruce, we don't see anything else. It just fades to black.
Fades to black, yeah.
And we
And
get
that
some
rocket-
like
that rocket
nice
going
noises.
up- That rocket going up does something to establish like the size and scope of this film as well. There's it's just over there in the field, and then this person's getting taken just there.
It's over in
Yeah.
the neighborhood. Yeah.
And then there's a bit of a time jump, isn't there? Because Bruce has been missing for a little while.
He's now trapped in a little poster. He's there. Found
He's
him
right
here,
there.
look.
Let him at the poster. And Andy grabs him and goes, "Get him shredded."
Get him shredded. He's been sent to the Phantom Zone. He's just in a little square.
Yeah, trapped in a wanted poster.
I don't know how long.
Imagine if you were trapped in a wanted poster. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's a shame he's lost, isn't it?" I'm here.
I'm here.
I'm right here.
It's not a wanted poster though. It's a missing poster.
Trapped in a wanted poster.
This kid's wanted, is he? You wait till I see him.
Dead or alive.
And I'm right here.
You got him. And I think so. We're introduced to Finn's younger sister Gwen as well. Who's how would you describe Gwen?
I was gonna say
Stone Cold Badass number one. Also
Stone Cold
yeah.
Badass number one. Older than her years. Just a badass.
psychic.
Yeah, a classic.
Oh yeah,
King family
psychic.
story psychic.
Well, there's a good line as
Yeah.
well where obviously Finney says, "Do you think they're going to find Bruce?" And Gwen says, "Not how they want to find him," which I'm
Yeah.
assuming is alive.
Trapped in a poster.
Trapped in a poster.
That's good. And then they arrive at school, and
Well,
we
on the way
see-
to school, they see a horrific fight between a kid called Robin, who's
Yeah.
just like a little badass in a bandana, and a big guy called, what's the guy called?
Moose.
That's it. Yeah, I knew it was something like that. Big guy called Moose, and it's one of those fights where you're like,
and skull.
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ, someone break it up. He's gonna die. And Robin, who's far more diminutive in relation to Moose.
Yeah, it's called
batters
Moose
the
for a
living-
reason.
Yeah.
Smashes
Anyone-
his face.
I never thought that maybe Moose is acting out and starting fights on people because people call him Moose.
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly. Maybe we need
That's his real name. They just called their son Moose. Nominative to
Derek
Disney.
Moose.
If you call your
Moose over
child
here.
Moose, he will grow into a moose.
He'll be
He'll start
huge.
growing horns. Ooh.
He's a big antlered boy.
Who's
Yeah,
a big
so
boy? Who's a big antlered boy? Hercules.
He does some great wrestling moves on him. He's going to give him like a neck breaker at one point.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty mad. He's been watching. This was before the years of WWE, but some level of pro wrestling. And
Did you feel
luckily-
these bits weren't as serious tonally as you were expecting? Like it felt a bit more fun teen movie in the way that the teenagers talk to each other and the way that the wrestling moves they're doing on each other and stuff. It felt a bit more lighthearted than I thought it was going to be going in.
Interactions
Yeah.
between the
Which worked
brother and
for it.
sister are quite nice and lighthearted because they have a good relationship. They're actually friends. And obviously it's them. So he says like, Jiminy Jillikers, Moose got beaten up. And he goes, oh, I thought you didn't like Moose. Finn always seems keen to move on from these things.
yeah,
Dwell on the violence of, whereas his sister is like, he's a piece of shit. Fucking eat
He's a
it,
piece of
Moose.
shit. Fuck him up.
Yeah.
Eat it, Moose.
Yeah, but if he ate less Buddy Moose, that wouldn't be your name.
Yeah.
But yeah, he doesn't mind him getting beaten up by Aaron, who is dressed like one of the Frog Brothers from Lost Boys. Got his little bandana and his car and his car.
Wait, what's the kid's name? Is it
Robin, I think.
Robin?
Robin
Yeah.
Aaron is his name.
He's Robin, and he's got like a
Robin Oakes, something like that.
no. He's got a name. He's got a name that Finney's dad can't pronounce, if you remember correctly. So it's like,
Yes.
Dino. Yeah, it's like I don't want to say Alvarez, but it's something like that, something along those lines. So yeah, and then there's an instance at school as well. So obviously Finney's got a girl he's got his eye on. A girl he's got his eye on, which was interesting because I kind of thought at one point Finney and Robin, it was almost like Finney was idolizing him in a way that could have been like romantic, but then they've established actually he likes this girl in class.
Because he looked at her before he threw that last baseball as well, so she's on his mind.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
She's on his mind. And there's three bullies who can only be described as the Three Stooges because they all look
Ed,
kind
Ed,
of
and Eddie.
ridiculous.
The
Ed, Ed,
three
and-
most. I don't know why they're picking on Finn. Those are the
Why are they
three most
bullies?
bullyable kids in that class.
Yeah, one of them's got
Yeah.
no chin. One of them, he's literally got no chin. He's like one's a lanky streak of.
One's a right
Yes.
ginger minter.
Yeah, exactly.
Ed Sheehan here. What are you doing?
Ed Sheehan. What if you ordered Ed Sheeran from Wish? You'd get Ed Sheehan.
And it's this kid. This
But
blooming
these
kid.
bullies, it's horrific. These bullies, like, why are they so keen to just literally punch people square in the face
Don't they, like,
over and
kick
over
him
and
in
over
the, kick him
again?
in the face? I think the sister like cracks a rock over one of their heads.
Gives
Yeah,
one of, gives
that's
one
the
of them
second-
permanent brain damage.
Well,
Yeah.
that's after Robin's gone missing because initially they don't attack
they're-
Finny because
'cause
Robin
they're-
like stands
yeah.
up for him.
He's got
he says,
protection.
"Come."
So they come into the
you come
toilets and they
here.
go, "Yeah, we're gonna beat you up, Finny, for reasons." And then
Because you're in our
Robin comes in.
bathroom.
Robin comes in and goes, "If I see you mess with Finny again, probably gonna kill you." And
You
I
should
go,
have looked
"Oh."
on the door. You know, it normally has like a little man. It had 3 different sized men shapes on the front of the door.
This is our bathroom. But they do a classic one where they go, "You're not allowed in here. It's the blokes."
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, very
Oh,
silly.
those three most, and also Finn's got a sharp tongue, and he could have told him, "You guys."
Yeah, the thing is, right, Finn. So Robin says to him, "You've got to start standing up for yourself." But I think Finn kind of does, but not in like he doesn't like standing up for himself in a physical way. He kind of he speaks his mind. He stands up for himself. Like he's got a few quips going on, and later on we find out he can take a punch pretty well. So
Oh,
maybe
yeah,
that's why he's not.
His defense stat is through the roof.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his skull is 9 inches thick.
It's got
And his
adamantium
long range
skeleton.
attack. It's got the
Yeah.
mint arm.
I got him in
The mint arm buffer.
Yeah. he's put all his points into defense right now, so he can definitely take it, but he doesn't like dishing it out. And I guess it's probably because we see the relationship at home. On a Friday, his sister stays away, and then he looks after his dad. We have had a scene where the police have come and interviewed the sister at the school today because she's mentioned to Bruce's sister that the black balloons, which is information that the police haven't released. So they come to talk to the little girl, concerned that there is either a leak in the police department or has she seen something.
Either there's a leak in the police department or you're the grabber, and then she starts being really patronizing and
she loses it with him. She's like, "Oh, right,
you're the fucking grabber." I'm like,
yeah.
I think she calls them fart knockers. That's it.
Fucking fart knockers.
That guy's huge laugh in the cinema I was at.
Yeah, same.
Farts are funny.
You absolute fart knocking dillweed. She has a right go at him. And they're embarrassed, and the teacher uses her full name, showing that she's in trouble. But they go back. She always stays at a friend's house on Friday, and Finney is going to look after their dad. And
well, is it just before that the dad disciplines?
That's the next morning when he gets up.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So he goes home and he tucks the dad in. He's been drinking and listening to his records and drinking. And at first, because you've already seen the dad once where he's having a go at the son for chewing his cornflakes too loud. No, slurping his milk too loudly.
It was quite loud.
Which, to be fair, it was very loud, yeah.
And then she drops like the bread bin lid or something, and he goes, "For fuck's sake, I'm fucking fuming."
At first, I thought it was going to be a classic Robert Zombie, families are horrible, aren't they? But it wasn't. He's poorly with the alcohol, and not irredeemably poorly. I think we see some great development from the dad character in this film. But right now he is, clearly a very depressed man who has a drink problem, and we explore that a little bit. It's not just your character trait is that you're a drunk. It's, we get into it a little bit more.
But we also find out that their mum has passed away as well.
And that's how we kind of learn it. Then we get more detail of that the next morning when Finney wakes up to his sister screaming and his dad is taking the belt to her. Like, really, really harsh scene, because she really goes for it.
Harsh scene, but this is probably the most convincing kid being terrified and in pain and screaming in anger. All of those things just go into that performance, and her anger at her dad for disciplining her, and sort of I don't know, it was just so believable. And especially with Finney, he was angry, he was sort of frozen in the doorway, he couldn't actually physically intervene, but he was kind of shouting.
I love the reaction from the sister as well, while her dad is beating her, and it comes out that it's, you're not like your mother, she saw things, and it gives us enough to understand that he is a man in terrible grief and not just a guy that loves the sauce. And she grabs the bottle of vodka and says, "If you hit me again, I'm going to drop it." And then she does. She smashes the vodka on the floor, and he's bereft. Absolutely.
That was the most expensive bottle of vodka off license.
Yeah, that was the good stuff.
That was the good stuff.
And he makes her say that her dreams are just that, and she can't see anything else into it.
We find out a bit more about that later on, why he's so against her.
She's got the shining, right? Is that pretty much it?
Well, she has the shining from the shining from Jesus, though. It's Jesus who sends those messages.
The shinning.
Yeah.
Little
Jesus notes helping you out with clues.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I think not long after this, Robin gets abducted as well. I think he just sees the grabber's van in a parking lot. This is the thing. So it seems like the grabber sets himself up by struggling with something into his van, and then a kind young lad comes along and says, "Do you need help, you mug?" And he goes, "Yeah."
And he goes, "Yeah, I'll grab you. I don't do that." Yeah, and this Robin is a bit like with Bruce's abduction, that you see him walking towards a van and it just sepia tones out, right? Yeah. So we don't get to see until a little bit later what what has happened here. We don't get to see the grabber properly for a while.
No.
Family gets a phone call. Finney finds out his friend's gone, and he asks his sister. Oh no, this is after those horrible bullies have beaten him up again, because Robin gets taken, and then the bullies sees this tragedy to think, well, he hasn't got protection anymore, so let's beat him up.
Yeah. What they weren't expecting was his sister running in with a rock. Like when she hits that kid on the head, his brain is like leaking out of his skull.
Yeah, he's bleeding out from the head. It's like, you know, when someone's hired a bouncy castle and there's that area against the fence where you go on the bouncy castle until you inevitably hurt yourself and then go and sit down. It's like a little mini self-policed infirmary where all the injured kids are sitting there going, hurt yourself, eh? Yeah, because even though they're in opposite sides of this fight, the kid that she is cracked in the head with a stone, and then the sister after she gets kicked in the head by one of the other bullies, they go and sit down to go, right, I'm out. Honor system.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Well, it's good in the way it's portrayed, not in what the events will happen. I love when kids get beat up.
Brutal fight scene for kids, and again, really solid performances.
Yeah. So it's around to, it's not too far into it where Finney does get grabbed.
Yeah. He's asked his sister to see if she can ask Jesus for some visions to help him, because he really misses his friend Robin. He wants to find him, but before she's really seen anything of it, we have had some snatches of the visions, but then Finney gets grabbed by the grabber, and this time it doesn't fade to black. We get to see it, right?
Yeah, and it's quite an interesting technique where he like spills his shopping on the floor, and he kind of acts overly kids TV presenter-y. Like lots of giggles and
silly me! I've dropped my shopping.
Yeah, and then
bit wasteful. Why did he buy eggs that would break? If you know you're going to drop it on purpose, but tins of beans.
Yeah, true. Because he does cook some eggs later on. He makes loads of omelets.
Maybe he just likes loads of eggs.
It seems like a fairly, not a busy street, but it's like a suburban street. It's not like it's in the middle of the day. And the way he kind of does it is he's got this bundle of. Doesn't he say like, oh, there's something in the back? What does he say?
He says, do you want to see a magic trick? Then he opens the thing. He says, those black balloons. He says, yep, captured.
Yeah, and by this point, he's already like, he's shaking the can to get the blood spray all primed up.
Yeah, and he sprays it like in his mouth while
putting on his kidnapping gloves.
Yeah,
but Finney bites him as well, doesn't he?
Scratches him with his rocket. He has a rocket.
That's right. Yeah, he's got a tiny look.
Really gouges him with it.
He's got a rocket Swiss Army knife scenario. It does loads of stuff. It's got a torch. It's got a stabby bit.
That's it.
It's got a little Pez dispenser in
you
there.
Can pretend it's a rocket.
Yeah.
It's a shame he doesn't throw that into space at the end. That would really tie this film together.
And it all happened in his head.
It just sparks, makes a new star in the sky.
Like a Katamari.
So while the grabber's like taking him into the basement where he's obviously soundproofed it, he's fritzled it right up. He says he's like really angry. He's like, you bit me, I should break your neck for. Oh, sorry, you scratched me.
Yeah,
break your neck for that. And he goes, I didn't really mean that, because I just lost my temper back there. But then he does the classic. I say classic, like I've never been kidnapped. Classic kidnap thing was like, I'm not going to hurt you. You know, it's fine now. It's all good. You just chill here for a bit, and you'll be back to your parents or parent in no time. Don't you worry.
In a bag. I mean,
in a bag. Wait, what? Did you kill everyone else? Nah. What?
No, that wasn't that. He says, doesn't he say, oh, that wasn't me?
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah, does he say that?
The old Shaggy defense, eh?
Yeah. Also, he's wearing. I murdered a kid in the shit. No, don't say that. So he's wearing the mask already, but the mask he's wearing at the moment is like a devil face, but then the mouth is interchangeable with a no mouth or a smiley or a sad. And at the moment he's got a no mouth. That's the first one he's got on, isn't it? The
no mouth.
Oh, okay.
smooth version.
I wonder what other ones he's got, like a tongue sticking out.
Yeah, I guess
One
as,
that
I
blows
guess
bubbles.
I guess as emojis became more of a
Little
thing.
straw hole.
If he still operated in, in the 2010s at very least,
Yeah.
you'd have all sorts. You'd have a aubergine bottom of the mask. You'd have a big surprise face, the little wibbly wobbly confused one.
Yep, just a straight line, not amused.
Soy face. Yeah.
Yep. That one, a little jaunty angle one for
slightly drunk. Yeah.
Slightly drunk. But yeah, he's a very distracted kidnapper, He's always worried about what's going on upstairs. He's like, oh, things are all fucked up, they're not going right.
Phone's going, gotta get it there. Gotta take it.
Finney's pretty good at kind of like trying to put the doubts in his head where he's like, who's here? Someone's here, someone saw me, someone must have seen you taking me. If you don't let me go, what do you say? If you touch me, I'll scratch you.
Yeah,
I'll scream. And he's like,
if you scream, I soundproof this place myself, and I am Fritzl grade soundproofer.
How would you test that if it was just you? I'm going to go in there and I'll scream as loud as I can. And if I can't hear it, and then if I go outside, if I can't hear it, then I know it's worked.
Yeah. Tell you what, I'll go outside and shut this door. You scream, and then I'll believe you it's soundproofed.
And he screams, runs up as quick as he can, listens, and goes, that's completely soundproof.
That's completely soundproof, yeah. Exactly.
Or no, he screams as loud as he can. He runs upstairs, and then he opens the window. Ah! Yeah, it trapped the scream inside.
Traps it in there.
Yeah. But also, like, there are loads of things that. So, I mean, I know we'll get to this, but there are loads of things that Finney attempts to do that previous kids have done. But I'm like, why does the kidnapper just put the things that they've used to try and escape back in the same place? Why does he go like, oh, they smashed the wall to bits. They dug a massive hole. I'll just put that back. What's that? They ripped this cable out of the wall. I'll just put that straight back.
Guess he's too busy just grabbing another kid.
He loves DIY. He better have a home base loyalty card because he must be getting bags of concrete over and over again.
I bet he's got nectar points out the wazoo as the grabber.
Yeah. So there is like a disconnected titular black phone, which I think pretty straight on. The grabber says he's heard ring before. He says there's like something to do with static electricity, which makes it ring. And he goes, I answered it once. And there's a weird bit of silence. And Finney says, was there anyone
there?
On the other end? Anyone there? And he goes, no, of course not. Don't work, you twat. I've had you.
I'm the grabber. Bye.
I'm the grabber. See you later. What do you want? I'll get you some food soon. Do you want horrible wet eggs and a glass and a bottle of appetizer? What?
Bottle of appetizer.
What? No, I'm not a middle-aged woman. Thank you.
Well, I love an appetizer, Ben.
I'm joking. I'm joking. That's what Finney would say, not me. I love an appetizer.
Yeah. Do you feel like going, even though it is essentially fizzy pop, like, don't want to be rogue and have a Coke. I'll have an appetizer. It would meet my auntie or something. I'll have an appetizer.
It's just apple tango. That's all it is.
Posh apple tango.
Posh apple tango. And then I think it's established. Well, a bit of time passes, but we're not just left with Finney in this scenario. We do see the reaction from the family and stuff. Obviously, Gwen finds out when she's at a friend's house and just pretty much drops the phone and runs straight home.
Because the grabber is only stealing young boys. So as a young girl, you can walk the streets with gay abandon. It doesn't matter. You're not going to get grabbed.
Yeah. Plus, she's got access to rocks that you can pick up at any point.
Yeah.
She's got a lovely sort of It style yellow Mac as well. What's the boy's name? Georgie.
Yeah,
drives around like a Georgie.
Slicker.
I wonder if that's on purpose. Bearing in mind it's a King family joint.
But this is the thing. It does feel like that, doesn't it? It feels if I watched this and someone said this is based on one of Stephen King's newer short stories, you'd just be like,
okay,
yeah. I mean, it's broad strokes, but it's still.
It's very difficult to be a writer and not be influenced by one of the most influential horror writers of all time, especially if he happens to be with your dad and you probably lived with him for several years of your life, I guess.
Yeah, and I bet he had to shred all of his dad's papers. So he was constantly like reading them, absorbing them.
As they went in, one page at a time.
Yeah.
Before he went on a date.
didn't put in fistfuls of paper like I did.
No. He knows how to do it. Yeah, and I guess it's not that long that the phone starts ringing, is it? So he's left on his own a hell of a lot, isn't he, Finney? Like
Well,
he's
I
left
think
on
you've
his own.
left him on his own for longer than expected because he comes down and goes, "Oh fucking hell, I can't murder you at the minute because something's come
Yeah.
up."
It's
And
all
he goes,
going on upstairs.
"Oh, I'm gonna have someone up here." We find out later that his brother's come to stay. Oh, always the way, isn't it? Unwanted house guests.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have to be upstairs dealing with his brother for quite a while. So he leaves him on his own for quite extended periods of time.
I
And
think he
Finney
says at one
gets his
point,
first call.
I'm starving, doesn't he? He says, like, I'm starving, you got to give me something. He's like, oh, I'll come down with something soon. Don't worry.
I can't bring you any wet eggs for a bit, all right?
Yeah. I broke all my eggs, remember?
Yeah.
And yeah, the phone rings, but I think the initial few times he answers the phone, there's like a bit of static. It kind of sounds like someone's lifted the receiver at the other end, but you can't hear anything. There's no voices or anything like that, is there?
Yeah. But eventually he does get through, and it's although he doesn't remember his own name until Finney reminds him, it's only Bruce on the other line.
Flying hell, Bruce.
That's good, eh?
Yeah, again, like there's a few ways you can look at this. It could be Finney, like it's a coping mechanism. He knows
Could
his friends
all
have
be
gone
in the
missing.
serial killer's head.
It could all be in his head.
According to that man.
Yeah.
But what it acts as is a way for us to get a little bit of information about what happened to them, but also it helps Finney kind of work out how he could potentially escape. Although it's weird because he goes through like there's peaks and troughs, isn't there, where he's kind of hopeful, okay, I can maybe find out this, and then he's like super depressed about the whole situation because he's like, if they didn't survive, Bruce and Robin, who were like strong physically and determined, how am I supposed to survive?
Even that whole vibe of a guy stuck somewhere who's trying to get out, a person stuck somewhere who's trying to get out of that situation with the help of voices, is Stephen Kingy as well, with like Gerald's Game and
that says it Gerald's Game, talking
Game,
to themselves.
I mean, it was a bit like the movie Room, but with a supernatural edition. Have you seen Room?
No, have I?
Brie Larson.
No, I haven't actually. But
yeah, that's good. It's similar sort of vibes, but it's very, very tense at times as well. And I think that's what this film does well, is the sort of tense nature of.
We'll talk about it as it comes through, but lovely little puzzle box. This game is, it all comes together. You know how it all works. Gave me big feeling of the Signs. This is proper barrel swing away.
I was gonna say, yeah.
All the little pieces, they all come.
Loads of little established pieces that don't quite work out for him are all kind of used in tandem as a means to.
Do we think so? Later on, we'll find out that the ghosts are all kind of planning this. Are they? Because they just want to kill the.
Yeah,
it's not for you.
The ghosts. Yeah, the ghosts are pissed off with the grabber, right, for killing him.
Yeah. And it's almost like he's killed enough people now that they can all work together to help out his latest victim and take him down. If you would have killed one person less, maybe you would have go away with it. But no.
Yeah.
But
taking it too far.
The grabber. Sorry, what's Bruce's bit of advice for Finney? What does he plan to do?
He says that there's a floor tile.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he. That's what I like as well, is that a lot of them keep repeating certain things, isn't it? It's almost like them in their state of wherever they are between life and death. It's almost like a memory or an echo of who they were in their final moments, or in that connection they've got to Finney, which was, that's why they don't know their name and why they can sort of only bring forth a few pieces of information. Like this piece of information is there's a floor tile. Underneath that floor tile, there's some
big hole I've been digging.
You can dig a Shawshank Redemption style tunnel and get your ass out of there. But they all failed, obviously. So Bruce says, I only got as far as, what does he say? You had to go down.
Only did a bit of it, but I didn't. He didn't seem to have managed to dig very much out, did he? Because Finney's flushing that toilet loads.
Again, none at all, because it really does seem like the grabber has just reset everything. It's like this whole room is reset at the end. Like it's just the next day, a day sequence, and then
like an escape room. It's like, well, better put this back to normal. Put this tile painstakingly back in place.
Yeah, because it's like it looks old, the tile, but he breaks it. So I'm like, that's weird.
So, what does he do with the tile? So he just starts digging.
Digs
And
underneath
he
it.
had there's some rugs as well, and he covers it up.
Yeah, he's dug a pit and he puts the carpet over it, but he's basically dug as far as he can.
Yeah.
Dig.
Yeah.
He's dug like a pit and he's flushing the dirt down the toilet.
Oh yeah.
The grabbers listening upstairs going, "Blooming hell! Didn't think I was feeding you that much."
Luckily,
eggs
it's soundproof.
going right through him. You know why those eggs are wet, don't you? And we know this. We know why, because LL Cool J told us at the end of Deep Rising, he used milk in his eggs, and that makes them runny.
Deep Blue Sea.
Deep Blue Sea. That's
got
what
your deeps.
Do you
know what?
Get your nautical horrors sorted.
Well,
nautical
get
late
your eggs
horrors.
sorted, mate.
Add a bit of milk to it. Add a bit of milk to it. And sometimes just a whole pint of water to make them extra sloppy. Disgusting.
You don't want any wet eggs.
Don't want wet
No.
eggs. Yeah.
No.
I think about round about the same time, the police are searching for Finney. What's her name? Gwen is doing extra praying, and she's having nightmares. She's having sleep dreams. I always said that.
Jesus helping out with a few clues, right? Jesus
clues, yeah. Clues. So she's seen like the front door of him sort of banging inside.
Yeah.
So she's piecing it together. Jesus is helping her out.
And she speaks to her dad, doesn't she? And he explains that her mom used to think she saw things from her dreams, and it eventually led her to kill herself.
Yeah, but he's almost like he believes that. But when Gwen says, "I see things as well," he's like, "No, you don't. Don't be stupid."
I think the dad, in a low key way, he comes round in one of these scenes. It might not be this one. It might be the next one. But she says, "I need to talk to you about it," and she says, like, even if it's like that, isn't it good if it helps us stay thin? And then you see she's looking out the passenger side of the car. So the dad appears to have brought around, he's driving around to help her look.
Yeah.
And she's helping the police, they're pretty.
Yeah, they've come round to ask her for some clues.
They're pretty useless, to be fair. And I think even sorry, I won't spoil it. We'll get to it. But they don't seem to be getting anywhere with the case until she goes, hang on a minute. What about this? So yeah.
Do you want the actual address? Yes, please, little girl.
That's cheating. And then after this so I think the grabber brings Finney those wet eggs, and then he leaves the door ajar, which obviously initially Finney's like, oh my god, he's left the door open. What are we gonna do?
Bloody amateur again.
Amateur. But then fairly quickly another phone call arrives from a guy called Billy, who's like a newspaper boy, and he says, don't go upstairs. He's left the door open on purpose. This is a game. If you go up there, he'll attack you, and he'll
beat you to an inch of your life. He'll belt you.
He'll belt you to an inch of your life, because he's almost like saying, I didn't say you could leave the basement, so there we go.
Yeah, like is that what he calls it? Like the bad boy game, or
it comes. He calls it the baboon box, the bad boy game later on.
Yeah.
But now he just goes, it's a trap. Don't go upstairs.
Yeah.
Vinny doesn't believe him. He still goes to the edge of the stairs and then thinks better of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder, at what point does he trigger that cutscene when he's going to beat him up? Like, that's the fourth step.
Trigger
the cutscene. You must be able to hear his heavy breathing, because he's like sat there on a chair in the kitchen with his shirt undone and
muscular as you like. He looks like a glazed ham. That's
what I'm saying. He did look.
You can hear his
physically
sweaty stomach. Like you can hear his gut skin sizzling.
I can't wait for the naughty boy game. You wait.
Yeah.
He's ready to absolutely thump him if he goes upstairs. He's got his belt off. He's got his shirt off. He's ready to really go ham on this kid.
Yeah. Imagine, do you think he's disappointed when Finney doesn't come upstairs? Oh, he seems to play the big boy game.
He seems to fall asleep every time, doesn't he?
Yeah, he seems a little bit vexed by it, and I think he explains in a later one, and the voice is telling him he doesn't know what to do because you haven't tried to.
Yeah,
you haven't tried anything, so
it's
like know how to work.
If you haven't done it, you haven't. He can't beat you. and he wants to beat you at
He
the.
needs you to be a bad boy before he can treat you as and like.
You beat you like a
Is it-
baboon.
I mean, like all in like serial killers, they all have like certain like not
It's like
triggers,
a power
but
dynamic thing, isn't it? Yeah.
yeah, they have certain preferences, I guess, for how they want the game or the situation to play out. So he's trying to get Finney to play into that, isn't he?
I tell you what, this gives me between this one. There's a good a time to say it as any, especially with the new one. Very Batman-y vibes from this film. I feel like both Ethan Hawke's performance as the Grabber and just the whole tone
the
and
Grabber make a great Batman villain.
The whole tone and theme of the entire thing.
Yeah.
Basically, if Batman came and rescued the boy at the end, this is a Batman short story.
Yeah.
Also, yeah.
Where is he?
I also like the
Where's
whole
the boy?
vibe in Batman. He's always it's like it was piecing a plan together that we don't quite see throughout the series, and then there's always like in a comic anyway. At the end, we see how it all comes together, and Batman knew how it was all going to play out.
Yeah.
Like he knew what he was actually doing.
The film's called The Bat Phone. Where Batman doesn't know the address, but he's phoning
a
it.
good name game. Yeah. Hey, isn't his name Alfred? The Grabber.
Yeah, I think his name is Alfred in the.
It's all coming
short
together.
Story, yeah.
So he gets like a bit of cable, bit of a length of cable or something from
the paper boys.
Who's also a Batman villain. The paper boy just throws papers at people's heads and knocks them off.
Yeah, because we get there's like these weird little twisted, say dream sequences where it shows how these people were kidnapped
in like 16mm film or whatever it is.
Yeah,
and it looks like the sinister sequences.
Sinister, yeah.
It works. So it really, really works. And also the fact that we get like a little insight into the boys' lives before they were grabbed, and we know that how they ended up. It adds like a little element of like tragedy to the whole thing.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially when in this sequence, like the dog's running around with him while he does his paper round, and then when the Grabber gets it, the dog's just sat there like that, going, "Well, what do I do now then?"
Yeah,
that dog couldn't have prevented him from being grabbed, obviously, because he used a magic trick to get him. Just conjured, like when you hold a towel up and then drop it after you've gone. That's what they do with the balloons. Got those balloons out and just shielded him being robbed.
Yeah.
So he pulls a little bit of cable out from the wall, and essentially uses it to try and climb up to the bars on it. There's a high window in this basement, and he tries to climb up to there. And we feel the struggle in this moment when he's like trying to, and he's learning. He's trying to climb up initially, can't do it. Then he sort of hooks his foot, manages to get up.
Uses like the carpet rolls as a tube.
That's really smart.
Yeah.
Very
I'd have just been like, I wonder if I throw this 100 times, I'll eventually get it through.
And just the carpet is right next to you. Keep looking at it and then going back and throwing it again. Yeah, I'd never put that together.
I feel like I'd get so frustrated I would be able to kill the Grabber though. If he'd come down and just caught me doing it. What are you doing? Playing the bad boy game, trying to mate. I am so fucked up having to throw this thing through. You are dead.
Come here, you are dead. Take his mask off and put it on yourself. Right, that's it.
You lasso him with the cable.
Yeah. Having got so good at rope tricks.
I don't remember how it plays out. I guess
he pulls the bars off of the window.
He yanks the sort of cattle grid that's over the window down. Yeah.
But what he kind of sees is like where he is, I guess. Not obviously no details, but you can kind of see that he's on a street and yeah. And then I think that is when Gwen has the dream of him. No, I think she dreams of Billy being abducted, and then that's when she talks to her dad about it. Yeah,
and they're out looking. The next day, the Grabber brings him down his wet eggs and appetizer, and says, "Oh, are you going to tell me your name? I've been thinking about letting you go." Do you think he's never thinking about letting him go? Or...
No, but this is a horrendous, like little mind trick, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a horrendous mind trick, but it's also like doing something that projects him being morally wrong onto the kid. Like, oh, you didn't tell me your name. Oh, what's your name? Oh, you're lying to me. Bloody lying. I was going to let
Yeah,
you
and
go.
he goes, "Oh, I'm
I
gonna
was
get you.
even
I'm
thinking
gonna
about
get you in the
letting you go.
paper." Yeah,
Yeah.
gaslighting. Yeah, he's like, "Oh yeah,
Obvious.
I was, yeah, like, oh, I always," and you get, the creepy. He kind of admits to the murders now, right? Because he's like, "Oh, I always find out the names eventually. You get a lovely thing in the paper."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
This is horrible though, because in a way, like being kept down there, like indefinitely, like what's easier to cope with, like that, or just not knowing if he's going to kill you at any moment?
Yeah, and
Like,
also there's a vague undertone of sexual threat because he goes, "Oh, don't worry, I'm never going to make you do anything that you won't enjoy."
yeah.
Yeah.
And he says, if you touch me, that's when he says, if you touch me, I'll fuck you up, mate.
I'm livid from trying to thread this rope.
Yeah.
So he comes down and goes, "All right, then, tell us your name. Then what's your name?" He goes, "Oh, Billy Madison." And he goes,
Billy Madison.
"What?" He knows he's caught him out in a lie.
You liar.
And he goes, "Right, I was just starting to like you, but now have your eggs on the floor, mate.
Yeah.
They'll
And
be
he
all
has to like
gritty eggs."
shovel, and he's obviously so hungry that he has to shovel them up onto the plate and eat
Oh
them.
god, and
like
they're full
that.
of dirt and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Bit
he's
of
starving.
roughage.
He needs his energy.
Yeah, for digging and stuff.
Digging and everything else he needs to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and around about this time is when we see the police officers doing door-to-door stuff, and then they stumble across a guy who
Invites him in. He's got a theory.
yeah, he's invites him
Oh,
in, and
yeah,
he's got like a wall of research, and he's trying to pin. He's got a map.
I mean,
trying to
he
pin together.
isn't wrong. Like he does kind of narrows down the area of where the grabber must be operating from, and they're like, "Yeah, whatever, you silly sausage. But we're going to actually listen to this telepathic girl instead. We think we know who to listen to. Thank you very much."
We have a specialist on this already. It's a little girl with powers from Jesus.
Is
So
she on the-
right
is she
mouth
on-
on her.
Is she on the payroll? No, we can't do that. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, unfortunately, we're not legally allowed to employ anyone under 18. So
yeah.
it's like college sports. You're not allowed
Free
to make any
labour.
money. Yeah. So they've got her, but they don't want his answers. Now, do you think they've already discounted his answers, or do you think it's his table full of cocaine that puts them off?
It's
Yeah.
a table full of cocaine, isn't it?
So he says he's not even from there. He said, "I'm not from here. Stay with my brother." And then they're like, "You should probably tidy up before he gets back." And then, yeah.
To be fair to
Cocaine
his
is-
brother, he does tidy up that cocaine. Gets the old Hoover out, the old face Hoover.
the old Henry Hoover. Yeah.
It's the Henry out. What a great guy.
Does this smell like cocaine to you?
Waste not want that.
Yeah. So he's like, "Oh no."
By the way, when we're introduced to him, and then after he's done his bit, the camera like zooms down, and it kind of transitions into the basement. Did you at the time? Did you think, oh, he's above the basement where Finney is, or did you think that was just a creative transition?
I think I was 50-50 initially, but then I was like, but why would they do that? Because it kind of really drills home the fact that he's there. And then I was like, but how? Then I was thinking, but how? How is that possible? How could that be happening?
I was thinking, oh yeah, I remember Baby When You're Gone with Bryan Adams and Mel C.
Baby when you're gone.
That's what they do. A little music on
them.
them.
Even food don't taste that good.
Yeah. Yeah. So they do that. They do Baby When You're Gone. Obviously they couldn't because set in the 70s, missed opportunity. Set that in the late 90s, and you've got yourself a musical interlude.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's underneath that house, and we don't. It's kind of strange because we don't at this point know. I think it's been revealed in the film that his brother is staying over there, right? This is where we find out. You've confused for a moment. It's like, hang on, that's not the grabber. It's a different actor. We find out a little bit late, like very shortly after that, it's his brother.
And then I was thinking, maybe it's just not. Then I was thinking, maybe it's not his house.
He's hiding him in someone else's house. Yeah,
maybe he's next door or something. I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
But yeah, we I guess we now have a conceit for why the grabber has been busy and can't come down all the time. Well, why Finney gets entire days to dig or loop cord.
Yeah. Luke Cordor.
Yeah.
My nickname at school. But so this when Finney gets the call, and the I can't remember who it is at this time, but they're saying
Is this from the brother from Stranger Things, the bully brother, phones him up?
No, I don't think you mean like the bully guy.
That's a bit later, isn't it? Yeah.
This is the guy who's like there's a combination lock and
yeah,
he's
little
fallen
boy.
asleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he uses his bite lock to lock the door.
Griffin, I think he's called. So Griffin, and he shows him so he says there's a combination to a lock which is on the door upstairs, but he also says, because the grandpa tries to play the naughty boy game again, he's ever so keen to play that game, and then he says the grandpa's not been sleeping well and he's actually dozed off upstairs in the seat, so there's no time better to go than right now. Here's the combination, and he sort of says, is the combination these numbers or is it these numbers? And he's like, well,
oh yeah,
it's on the wall, it's written on the wall, isn't it?
It's written on the wall, but because it's one of the sort of rotational like safe locks, so it's not just that. Maybe it's a US UK thing, because I feel like our combination locks are all just a number, right, that you plug in. But I know that if
I think this is maybe like
films have taught me anything, it's that you get like safe tumblers and you have to turn to one number and then the other, like Resident Evil locks.
This is like just like a game, finding like a code for something written on a wall, like behind a bit of wallpaper.
Why
maybe.
would he write that on the wall?
Because
he said something like he was afraid to
forget it. Knew I'd forget it if I became a ghost and lost my memory. So I've written it on the wall.
Oh yeah. Good thinking. Good thinking.
So this is obviously this is like the most tense part of the film. I mean, I don't know,
yeah.
It was pretty
with the dog as well.
Yeah.
So he like sneaks upstairs, sneaks past the grabber who's asleep in the kitchen, and then he's like trying to he's obviously trying to put the code in while we get classic man is asleep and we don't want to wake him up stuff.
It reminded me of like Jack and the Beanstalk or something.
Yeah.
Like a sleeping giant.
Don't wake the bloody giant.
Would you have been tempted if that had been you escaping from the grabber? You go to the kitchen. If it says more about me, I'd have put the gas on. So I was going first.
Waste his energy bills.
This is what
it's going to really cost him.
This is what I thought. I mean, obviously,
going to fuck with me. It's going to cost you big.
He's got access to the kitchen.
When the gas man comes down, I'll shout from down in the basement.
Yeah,
I'm down here. Also, he's got access to the kitchen. Just find a sharp knife, stick it straight in his neck.
Yeah.
Wiggle it around a bit.
Yeah.
But no, I suppose he just wants to
put his wallet in the fridge so he begins to think he's losing his mind.
Oh no!
What's in there?
Oh no! I got to stop kidnapping kids.
Losing it.
I'm losing it. But yeah, and he does manage to escape. But in the exact moment the lock clicks open, a dog in another room starts going mad, and obviously then Grabber wakes up, and then
somehow unlocked the dog's vocal cords at the same time.
Yeah. They're on the same circuit.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
dog's kicking off. He runs down the street, but it's obviously not in a neighborhood watch area. The neighbors are not nosy enough.
Yeah.
Not nosy enough, no. So he's obviously he's running down the road shouting, isn't he? Shouting help.
Yeah, and he slips on some broken eggs.
Running down the road thinking, oh, bloody hell, the grabber is going to get me. I'm being grabbed as we speak, lads.
I don't want to get grabbed again.
A security light on the house opposite clicks on or something.
A couple of porch lights come on.
Yeah.
And obviously that is one step away. So the neighbours in a couple of houses think, right, I'll put the porch light on. For any more disturbances, I'll actively look outside for the next 30 seconds. They're on yellow alert.
Yellow alert. Whip, 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 whip.
Yeah, it's on searching. Yeah, meanwhile the grabber's whispering to him while that music track's going on, saying like, if you say anything, I'm gonna stab you up and I'm gonna choke you with your guts.
Do it then.
Stabbing me up would have been enough. I'd stop shouting for that.
Do it then. I'd rather take that and get nonced by you. Just kill me.
Oh, but he doesn't nonce him. But after the porch lights go off, he does give him an absolute thumping.
Oh yeah,
gives him a straight right to the grill.
Good night, Gracie. Although his face is fine. You'd have thought you had a big fist-shaped hole in his head. But he's all right.
Yeah, and then after that, when he's recaptured, he's pretty like despondent. He's
played the bad
depressed
boy.
and
He's played the
fuming.
bad boy game now. Now it's on.
Isn't
Yeah,
there like there's a couple of bits here I feel like we've missed with some of these ghosts where they've like we've seen them physically there now.
Yeah,
And it's like
so I
a couple of like jump scary bits where they fly off into the corner, into the shadows and stuff. It's creepy stuff.
There's a bit with
little
Billy.
Blakey. Yeah, he's like floating around in the room, all bloody.
Yeah,
Dripping blood.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a drip noise, isn't there? And I think initially I was like, okay, he's found a leak or something, and he's going to try and somehow use that to his
Finds a leak
advantage.
door, right? Yeah.
He found a leak, and he's like, yum. But no, it's a dripping ghost.
Yeah, a drippy ghost. That is it. Does he point to the? He says, he points at the phone, doesn't he? When he sees him, he goes, "Oh, answer that, will you?"
Yeah. Oh, and then he's talking at the same time as the ghost's mouth moving or something. Oh.
Yeah.
I really like the stuff where also in the flashbacks. Oh no, it's when in Gwen's is her name Gwen? In Gwen's dreams, which he's sat with the ghosts, they're talking as if they're using the same stuff that you say when they're on the phone to.
Yeah.
I really like the way it's all connected like that.
So that's good. It's
really
really good symmetry in those bits, for sure.
It's good because their voices are all crackly as well, like they're on the phone. It's not like when they're in the same room. It's very effective, yeah.
But the next phone call he gets is from Bully and Hardass, pretty much with a different name and blonde instead of brown hair, the mean brother from Stranger Things season 3.
Yeah, a
this
bit like
guy's
that. But
insane. He writes his name on someone with a knife, like he's got the top score on their stomach.
Yeah.
Yeah. But obviously, it's weird because it's like he was a victim of this guy as well. But yeah, it's almost like he's telling him what to do, and he's like, "Oh, thanks for helping me." He's like, "What? Shut up."
This is
not helping you.
Yeah.
This is like a loud, like, because it's gone through like whispered conversations, and then it's like then it just gets really shouty and loud at this bit. He says like, "Oh, thanks for helping me." He goes, "Oh, I'm not helping you. Fuck this guy," basically.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And he tells him to smash his way through the wall. And when he gets there's like a storage room, isn't there? And he basically crawls through the back of a freezer.
You see, in the freezer.
And by the time you get through there, and it's full of steaks. This is obviously relevant as well. Pulling all the steaks out, smashing the wall to bits. He's gonna be fuming, the grabber. He's gonna have to go to B&Q / home base again.
Well, he's gonna have to get food shopping. If you take all of his steaks out of the freezer, in the mood for a lovely steak. Hang on a minute, I could have sworn I had loads.
I had loads of steaks in there in cling film. Nope.
Better get down the shops.
But yeah, it looks like the grabber has learnt his lesson because he's put a lock on the freezer. So when he tries to crawl through it, can't get out.
Yeah.
Devastated. And it is just like one of those scenarios where you're like, all these new ideas of ways to escape, and they're just getting shut off, and brick walls getting put up in front of him every time. It's frustrating.
He says today's the day, right? Yeah, he says today's the day. Like,
okay,
today's the day. It's gonna happen. Like, you're out of time. And then he's sitting there and he's crying because he can't get out of the freezer. Chance. And he gets one more phone call from one final ghostie, and it's only his mate. It's his friend. It's Robin.
Robin, the hard ass.
So he teaches him. We talked about this. I don't know if it's on the call or
before we started. Yeah.
We'll pack the phone with dirt for one, and then for your move set, he teaches him one move set. Dive forward, then back. Dive forward, then back, and then swing in with a.
Lift the phone up first. Lift the phone up.
For you.
Lift the phone up. Forward, back. Smash.
Yeah,
that's it. It's like a combo. It's like a combo on Street Fighter that he needs to learn.
That's a good powerful move. That's your special. The phone wallop, phone thump.
Yeah. Pack the phone full of dirt.
And this is the last call we're going to get. And they reminisce a little bit.
It's for you can.
Yeah, you can. Very good.
Yeah, they reminisce a bit, and then we see Robin dead Robin like a ghostie. Well, this is the thing. With the ghosties we see, I don't think Finney ever sees them, does he?
No,
actually
I think it's for us as the audience. But this bit's a really good
Yeah.
one because like they do this whole thing where you see Robin quite a lot, and he's the only, with the exception of Bruce, who we don't see him as a ghost really.
Yeah.
We see him kind of standing behind him. Maybe we did talk about it because he's a lot like Splinter, the rat, when he's training.
Yeah.
So he's doing his training, and then as he finishes talking to him, and he have like a little bit of a heart-to-heart where he gives him a final pep talk, which is where he says, "So I'm not a fighter like you." He says, "You are. I've seen you fight. You can take licks like the best of them. You never give up. You always get back up. You just have to stand up for yourself."
He's like Homer when he goes boxing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
when he
God.
punches that fly and takes his hand up, and the fly buzzes away.
Yeah.
He's like, he can really take a paste in, and he keeps going. And I like the little heart-to-heart moment they have at the end. It says, "Oh, this is why, you don't leave your friends behind. This is why my dad never left his friends behind, and that's why he didn't come back from the war. And now and it's too late for me, but I can still not leave you behind." And then as he finishes that conversation, he ever so subtly goes from where he's been standing, he goes into the corner and eventually just becomes nothing on the wall.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Really good. Really good.
Because he walks into the corner, and I think Finn kind of covers him up briefly as the camera moves, and then when we see the corner again, he's gone. Yeah, it was good. It was effective.
And he kind of reveals, isn't he, that he's going to come anytime now because he's worried his brother's going to work it out, because he knows his brother's the generation's greatest detective.
Yeah. He's Columbo.
So at this point, Gwen is now on the bike because she's seen the tree outside the front of the house.
Yeah,
she's on the
tree.
bike.
I think she's
the
even
door
seen
number.
the number. She's seen the door number.
Yeah. So she's biking around looking for it, and she finds it, and that's when she gets her own little jump scare, which sees the ghost in front of her, and she falls off. But then she goes to find the police, I think, to tell them to come around.
Yeah, and she's an official police consultant now.
Yeah.
She phones them and says, "Yeah, can you come round?" And that's exactly what they do. However, at the same time, the grabber's brother, the snatcher, snatches up all the cocaine, the sniffer.
He's having a cocaine epiphany in this moment. He's like, I've done so much cocaine that I've worked it out.
I can see the Matrix at last. So he's looking at the map, and he suddenly realizes our house is in there, and he sort of pauses. Is he going to look in the basement? And then he doesn't, and then he does. Meanwhile, the grabber's at B&Q. It's all coming to a head. We know all this stuff's going to happen anytime now. I had a horrible feeling that the grabber's brother, the sniffer, was going to go down, and Finn was going to bash him with the phone.
That's exactly what I thought was going to happen. It was setting it up perfectly for that.
Yeah.
I thought the door was just. I thought he's going to be stood at the door. He's going to open the door. Bang. Yeah. But yeah.
Did anyone get any Misery vibes at this point? Where like, here, Savior's here, and then just
100%
on the stairs, and then just as they're about to save him,
Misery and The Shining as well. Finally travels all the way there. Literally walks it.
That was funny.
Axe to the chest.
Axe to the chest.
Horrible. Absolutely horrible. But yeah, films like this just have a way of this is the thing. When films like this are made really well, they kind of dangle that little carrot of hope in front of you, even though like part of you knows surely things are going to be all right in the end, but maybe they're not, based on the genre. It dangles the little carrot of hope and then snatches it away at the last second when you
grabs it away. Yeah.
Grabs it away. Dirty grabber.
It's the bit when the brother has come down and Finney doesn't bash him. He comes in and he's like, "Blummin' hell, knew he was the grabber. Tell you what, I've sorted this out." And he's like, "You've got to get me out of here, man." And he goes, "Don't worry, kid." Niche reference. It reminds me of an old Aaron Hansen Ego Raptor video about Ninja Gaiden where the strategy guide is talking to him. He goes, "Don't worry, pal." And then he gets like an axe in the back of the head.
I like it. You said niche reference and then literally dropped a very, very niche reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets axed in the head, which was obviously the shocking moment. And the grabber's done that thing again where he's like, look what you made me do. It's like, it was literally nothing to do with Finney. He was just chilling down there with his phone packed full of dirt. But then he immediately knows it's go time.
And this is the signs moment, right? Because everything, not, and it's this. How long is this film? It's not much more than a tight 90, right? It's not that long.
Yeah. I feel like he set these extra things up as well, though, right? Or have they?
Yeah,
Or they just lying?
But it's every piece of the puzzle that's come together. So it's the cable that he used to climb up. He's made that into a tripwire. He's packed the phone with dirt.
He's home alone. He's home alone the shit out of this basement.
Yeah, he's home alone, this little thing. I guess the element he hasn't expected is that in preparation for playing the bad boy game, the grabber has brought his dog down.
Yeah. Oh, God, that would be annoying, wouldn't it? That'd be just an extra element to it where you're like, oh, my God.
This is a ferocious looking dog. It's like a blooming panther.
Yeah, it's terrifying. But also, like, you worry in these moments when there's been such build up to all these things. You think, is he just going to get overpowered like in seconds? And then it's like, oh, God. But no, he does. It manages to come together pretty well. Obviously, he doesn't hit him with the phone. Or does he try hit him with the phone and he kind of just holds him off?
He kind of like sidesteps him and he runs around. I forget how he originally dodged. Does he use his torch pen again in the beginning? Or I don't remember how he sidesteps him to begin with. But basically, he is tricked into chasing him down the alleyway to the little toilet room he's had. He trips over
and it's quite a deep hole now as well, isn't it? It's a deep hole.
Into the hole onto the grate, but he
snaps his ankle.
Yeah. I mean, that couldn't have worked any better, could it? Really? Yeah. That's worked ideally. Or while this is happening as well, Gwen is leading the police to where she thinks it is, and you think it's one of those moments of what did this remind me of?
Saw 2, where the time isn't right. He goes, oh no, found him. This, and I was like, oh no, it's going to be some Christopher Nolan time slip, and his sister was looking for him a year later, and he's going to be dead.
He's going to be dead. Yeah, it was something like that where you think it's all coming to a head, but no, the police end up in an empty house, and then this fight continues. And while he's in the hole, the grabber, he just starts wailing on him with the phone full of dirt.
Absolutely, yeah. He uses the phone on him, and then finally gets him in he goes, oh, I've got a finishing move in mind, and he gets him in the wrestling move that Robin did earlier, but with a phone call.
Yeah. It looks like Charlotte Flair's move, which is called, what's it called? I can't remember, but she does a thing where she does a forward roll over someone and almost like does a sort of neck breaker thing.
Yeah, it's called the black phone now.
It's called the black phone, but he uses the cord. Could he do that? I don't know if he could actually break his neck, but then I guess
things
got a mint arm.
In the 70s, people built electronics to last. There's not that built-in obsolescence in them now. You want a phone to last forever. That would be adamantium wire.
Well, before he kills him as well, obviously all the voices, we see all these repeated words from all of the ghosts as well, all the things they're saying, and again, it is very signs where all the things they say are like relevant to this particular moment. Like
today's the day, motherfucker, and
today's the day, yeah, because he says it's for you, and he puts the phone to the grabber's ear, and he hears it.
Yeah,
that's a brilliant. Like that kid's gonna grow up to be Arnold Schwarzenegger because he's like, it's for you.
Yeah,
you're fired, and then he snaps his neck, and then at the same time the police have realized they found all the dead bodies, and then Finney steps out from over the road. He goes, well, now a ton of murders in there.
Yeah. So obviously Gwen was sat outside the house that they were finding. You think they've looked in the wrong place or something horrible is going to happen, but no, it's across the street, and Finney just stumbles out, all shell shocked. You never believe what I've been going through. It was an absolute nightmare of a day or a few days.
Yeah. I kind of liked, because you could have got away with panning up to the sky and finishing the film there. But I liked it that you got some payoff to the other characters. You know, we get a tiny little bit of explanation where the police chief has come out and said, oh, I'll pass you on now to hear from things. And you get the dad coming back and he's like, You know, asks his kids to forgive him and is happy that they're all together again.
Sorry that I belted the shit out of you.
Yeah, sorry I didn't believe you had psychic powers and hit you with a belt and was an alcoholic for a while. I'm better now.
There's a weird bit where the TV reporters are saying to detectives, "Why don't you tell us exactly how you brilliantly solved this crime?" And they're like, "Well, we started." Like they're just about to take full credit for every single bit of investigation, even though they did nothing. They did absolutely nothing.
Now. I'd be embarrassed. I'd be embarrassed to go home and tell my significant other or family that I just solved a big case, because I'd be like, really?
I mean, what else would they? I mean, I guess we asked this like psychic girl on the estate to
we asked this little
ask
psychic
Jesus.
Girl. She gets the messages directly from Jesus. She's got quite a casual relationship with Jesus, though. On days he doesn't send a clue, she's like, "What the fuck, Jesus? Come on.
Jesus, you twat." Yeah.
You've been a bit tight on these clues, Jesus. Maybe don't make them quite so cryptic. I'm a little kid.
And then Finney goes back to school, and everyone's going to look at him going, "There's a guy who killed the grabber with a twisted net breaker from hell." And then he sits in class next to his crush, and she's like, just talks to him like nothing's happened. She just goes, "All right, bloody hell."
And then he screams, gets like
part-time
PTSD.
here or something. Are you part-time or something? And then he hits her with a dirt-filled phone, and it ends.
In many ways, that relationship ruined. She'd be like, "Oh, do you want to give me a call sometime?" Again, if it was a modern film, they could have done "Call Me Maybe" to finish it on.
Yeah.
Carly Rae Jepsen piping in.
Call me on the black phone. Call me on the black phone. Do.
I have some name game for you if you're up for it.
Yeah, that's
very nice.
They don't have the bat phone, unfortunately.
I blew it. I wasted it.
But that's a good one. So the first one is about a boy who's abducted by a child killer and locked in a soundproof basement where he's forced to dance to a never-ending basement foam party.
God, no. the black foam.
The black foam. I don't know why it's black. Licorice flavored, maybe.
It's all the foam. It's all the roughage in the basement.
Yeah. This next one, after being abducted by a child killer and locked in a soundproof basement, a 13-year-old boy starts receiving messages in the form of poetry from a duck just outside the window.
The quack
poem.
Quack poem.
Quack poem.
The quack poem. Quack poem. Okay, go ahead.
And this last one, it's like that TV show Sex Box, if you've ever seen it. But instead of a box, it's a big, round, cylindrical building, and it's full of cockneys.
Wait, a big, round, cylindrical
building, like the O2 Arena, but smaller than that.
Dome.
And it's full of cockneys, and it's like the TV show Sex Box.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, the fact phone. The fact dome. The fact dome.
Fact dome. Okay.
You got any off the top of the dome?
I mean, you could have gone with fat dome as well.
Yep.
It's just boys with their hands. Fat dome.
Yeah, the fat dome.
A kid is kidnapped. Ends up in a basement with a tiny little porcelain man who's really bad at being his namesake. Tiny porcelain man.
Something the bad clone. Why is he porcelain?
A tiny little porcelain man, or not necessarily porcelain, that would usually be in a garden.
Gnome.
Oh, the cack gnome.
Nearly. Another word for bad.
The crap gnome.
The whack gnome.
The whack gnome. Very good.
That was off the top of the dome. I can only apologize for that.
Let's see if I've got one. Okay, so young boy Finney is kidnapped by the notorious serial killer, the Grabber. His only hope of escape is a series of telephone conversations he has with 90s rap star Mark Morrison.
Mark Morrison. I'm trying to think of
what would Mark Morrison use to phone someone.
Oh God, the I can only think so. It's obviously the Mac.
You've done the hard bit. It's the Mac phone. That's how we
The
call
Mac
them.
phone. I was like the Mac return of
Yeah. Use
the
the Mac.
return of the Mac.
Use
Yeah.
the Mac phone to call him.
Oh, it's the Mac phone. There we go.
Do his very name.
Well done. You all got 5 out of 5.
We
Wonderful.
all did it. Well done, everybody.
So we need to score the film now. Rate good or rate bad.
What are you
I
saying?
kind of feel like it's really good.
Mm.
I feel like it's pretty much spot on. Like I can't think of any flaws in it. I know some of the reviews are saying it's a bit hokey, I guess, with some of the kid stuff and that, but I thought it was all really good. I mean, I'm even like thinking like A- kind of territory.
Oh,
I mean, it's just. Well, I guess one down note is that it does feel like it's repeating lots of things that have been from other films and elements and Stephen King stories before, but it is doing them all quite. It feels very fresh still, and it's still very enjoyable to watch. Yeah, I'm gonna give it A-.
Very good.
wow.
Ben?
I don't think it does anything particularly wrong. I just think it feels like a greatest hits thing. There's a lot of stuff that's familiar that feels like it was reminding me of stuff. You know, it was reminding me of it was reminding me of Room, it was reminding me of, you know, probably like dozens of things, but it still fits together really nicely. I like the way everything all came together, and it gave me the Signs vibe. And I think that's one of the reasons I like that film so much, is because I enjoy it feels like attention to detail and all of these minor plot points and things that all come together. I'll probably go for a B plus, because I mean, I don't really know why. I feel like, do you know the scenes that felt like they should have been really tense? I wasn't quite there with it. I wasn't quite as like, oh my god, shit, quick, get that lock open. Oh god, oh. I was a bit like, I don't know. I wasn't quite there, but still, I'm not shitting on it at all. I think it's a very well made film, a very satisfying ending, great performances all around, as I said, from the two young leads as well. I know you call Ethan Hawke young. You know what I mean? He's the fact that you don't see his face at all,
Ageless.
ageless stranger. All very good. I'd like to see it again. I just think maybe it was weird. Part of me was like, I wanted it to lean into the horror more, but when there were those jump scares, it took me out of it a bit. I was a bit. It was like, okay, I want more horror. Oh god, there's jump scares. I don't know how it worked for me, but still, B plus is still pretty. I'm still pretty happy with it.
Right. Round it off. I'm going to join you on a B plus. I think, Ben. Really enjoyed it. Really solid. I like the Signs element. I love a neat thing that all fits together at the end. Only reason I'm not any higher, I think, is because I don't think this is one of those horror films. It's The Sixth Sense. It's not like an Aliens or anything like that. I think your best and most influential watching of this film is always going to be the first time round. You'll get things from watching it a second time. Maybe there are things that you'll pick up or details that you'll pick up, because the attention to detail is phenomenal. But I think it's going to be really hard to top that first watching as you're working it out as it comes together for the first time. But still really solidly made. Anything that is derivative of like the greatest hits of the genre are still executed very well. And this cast, if we don't see in particular the two like young leads in more stuff in years to come, some great injustice in the world. So love to see more from these two. Really, really good.
Totally agree.
Cool. Yeah.
There we go.
That's fun. So all around, it's very good. Go watch it at the cinema when you can. We haven't quite sorted out next week's episode yet, I don't think, correct?
No, I think we've got some ideas, so we'll be announcing the July lineup obviously before. So if you follow us on any social media platforms, Horror Hangout Podcast, Instagram, Twitter, or Hawke and Cleaver on Facebook.
We're gonna get some lovely summertime vibes going next month, aren't we?
Yeah, some summertime vibes. I don't think there's so obviously we've done 3 new releases in June, so I don't think we're going to do any new releases in July. So some classic summertime vibes coming at you.
Yeah.
Tell you what, I'm going to throw it out there. No specific plans. I'll have some planning to do. But tell you what, we normally do 2 quizzes a year, and it's about halfway through the year. Maybe. Over the next couple of months. Maybe I'll trip one together.
Summer
Summer
quiz?
quiz.
Sounds good to me.
And for that, yeah.
See if there's any competition going. If you're listening to this and you host a horror podcast and you want to take this as a gauntlet being thrown, I mean, Ben throws the gauntlet at anyone he sees, but
everyone, strangers on the street,
mint arm.
Yeah, he's got a mint arm. Yeah, if you want to challenge the Horror Hangout boys, Ben and Luke, to a bit of a horror quiz, can't promise you won't be strangled to death by a phone for this challenge, but you throw down. Let us know. Get in touch.
Yeah, let's do it.
Cool. All right then. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the show, you can become a patron over on patreon.com/horror hangout. Thanks to our current patrons: Lane Spencer, John Crinnan, Ben Scaife, Stephen Christopher, Toby Miller, Laura Kendrick, Scott Rugby, Ollie Child, Julia Bilgren, Leslie Carlo, and Pazuzu. And thanks to Taj Easton for the theme music. And thanks to Acast for hosting the show. Thanks to you listeners. Please rate and review. And thanks to my co-host Ben and Andy for being right horror dudes.
Thank you very much, guys. A pleasure as always.
Thank you both. See you all next time, everyone, for the start of Horror Hangout Summertime Special Swimsuit Edition.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.